to find those missing.
A search and rescue is still underway, so we are very hopeful, and again our thoughts are with the families and their loved ones.
Elective surgery has been postponed at Adelaide's public hospitals in the lead up to Easter as the health system grapples with overwhelming demand. Mel Usher has the details.
The ban took effect at midnight. All non-urgent surgery, that's categories 2 and 3 in the metro area, have been postponed until 11:59 tomorrow night. Emergency or urgent category 1 surgeries and paediatric surgeries are not affected. IVF procedures are also continuing. Non-urgent surgeries will only go ahead in the next 48 hours if enough beds are available.
The AFL is being accused of helping players evade matchday detection of illicit drugs. A former Melbourne doctor has admitted to conducting off-the-book tests to ensure players would not risk being tested and suspended for breaches of the World Doping Code. Federal Independent MP Andrew Wilkie told Parliament last night he'd received a signed statement from former Demons head doctor Zishan Arayan. A dairy company which suffered severe damage during major floods 2 years ago is finally resuming overseas exports. The federal government has approved Norco's 20,000-tonne shipment to Japan. The New South Wales operator has faced another blow recently after its products were pulled from the shelves of some Woolworths stores. Federal Agriculture Minister Murray Watt says restarting dairy exports is good news for the company.
It shows that our exports are really important of our agricultural industry these days. Australia exports about 70% of our agricultural production. There's a lot of our farmers who wouldn't be able to survive without these export markets.
Julian Assange has been granted a temporary reprieve, delaying his extradition to the United States. The UK High Court has ruled the WikiLeaks founder can take his case to an appeal hearing if the US doesn't provide guarantees he won't face the death penalty. His wife Stella has expressed her shock at the judgment, saying the case should be dropped altogether.
I find this astounding. 5 years into this case, the United States has managed to show the court that their case remains an attack on press freedom, an attack on Julian's life.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
And good morning, Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Graham. We're going to start with a little bit of football. Port Adelaide is set to be without Jason Horne-Francis for another week. The 20-year-old set to be sidelined with a hamstring strain. It's a blow for the Power, who are looking to maintain their undefeated start to the season against Melbourne at home on Saturday night. Still on footy, Essendon tall Peter Wright says he's disappointed he'll miss the next 4 games. That's after being found guilty of rough conduct. Swan Harry Cunningham was left concussed in the incident. The tribunal finding Wright had alternatives to leaping into the contest. He says it's a shame to be missing out on a month of footy.
Oh, it's incredibly disappointing. You want to be able to play consistent games and continuity and help our team win games, and I guess in the current landscape of football, everything's so tight and there's really even competition.
A great night for the Socceroos, easily taking care of Lebanon 5-0 in Canberra. In front of a crowd of more than 25,000, the Aussies cruised to the next round of World Cup qualifying, former Red skipper Craig Goodwin with 2 goals in the result. Well, the MCG will host a day-night test for the first time next summer. Our women's side to play against England in January. Meantime, the Aussie women will take on Bangladesh this afternoon, our time, in a one-day clash. And Aussie Chris O'Connell is off to a strong start in his 4th round match at the Miami Open. That's against Australian Open champion Yannick Sinner. O'Connell broke the number 2 seed serve in the opening game and is currently leading 3-2 in the first set. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast. Mostly sunny 25 today. Tomorrow sunny 26. Friday sunny 29. Saturday even warmer. Mostly sunny 31. Right now in town it's 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Struggling with your CPAP therapy? Try the world's first auto-fitting mask from Fisher & Paykel Healthcare. Respirocare Healthcare is offering the Fisher & Paykel Sleep Style device for 30% off, plus a free solo mask valued at $310. Visit one of 6 Respirocare clinics and mention this ad to redeem this offer. Respirocare Healthcare, proudly serving South Australia for 20 years. When considering whether CPAP is right for you, speak to your doctor. Always follow the directions for use.
A life-changing phone call. A life-changing answer. Is it you? Time's up.
Get your tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery now. You could win the fully furnished $3.6 million Scott Salisbury Grand Prize at Henley Beach. Plus, your tickets stay in more than 12,000 draws, giving you a 1 in 15 chance to win. Hurry, deadline midnight tonight. Life-changing prizes, life-changing impact. Homelottery.com.au. Licence M14493.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide tech guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Whether it's the latest Samsung Galaxy S24 or the latest Apple iPhone 15, Harvey Norman has you covered. Head in store to sign up to a new up to $69 a month, 24-month SIM-only plan. And you'll get unlimited calls and texts to standard numbers and 100 gigabytes of data for use in Oz. Plus, you'll receive an $800 Harvey Norman gift card when you sign up. Tell them I sent you and you'll score a further $100 gift card. That's $900 towards your new phone. With a deal this good, there's some fine print. Minimum plan costs $1,656 over 24 months. Maximum of 5 gift cards per account. Recontracts and rate plan changes excluded. Plan cancellation fees apply. See in store for details.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you.
Setting the agenda for South Australia. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base. Search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast. It is the 27th of March and we have a jam-packed program for you today. So much massive news around. We'll get you across all of it as it happens right here in Adelaide or indeed around the world. Have you had your elective surgery cancelled over the course of the next 2 days? There would have been a stack of people, many of our listeners among them, who received a phone call last night saying the system is bursting at the seams. Your surgery, unfortunately, is a casualty. If that's you, we want to hear from you this morning. What were you waiting for that's been canned? Because, well, quite simply, the health system in South Australia is buckling under the weight of pressure at the moment. We're going to speak to Dr. Robin Lawrence, the CEO of SA Health, a little bit later in the show. Josh Rachele's on the program. We'll talk footy with Josh Rachele, try and make sense of this difficult Crows start to the season. Koch's going to be on. If you pick up any News Limited paper in around the country at the moment, certainly in the football states, the front page is a story that needs to be read in detail to be believed about a clandestine drug operation in the AFL covering up illicit drug use, positive tests. The whole thing sounds like the stuff of fantasy until you realise Mick Warner's written it and all the key players have put their name to it. We'll ask Koch about it after 7:30 today. And, of course, we are off to Baltimore for the latest on the cargo ship that hit the bridge. A graphic and extraordinary tragedy that took place overnight. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. A lot of massive news around today, and we're going to be all over it. That footage of the bridge, I reckon I've watched it. I've seen it probably 50 times already, just watching the American news services last night. Both CNN and Fox were devoting their entire programming to it, obviously. But it's genuinely incomprehensible, isn't it?
It looks fake.
Yeah,
it looks like AI.
Yeah, it almost looks like some scale model out of like an old Japanese disaster film or something. Like you half expect to see some, Godzilla climbing over it. Like the way it just goes, just gone. But first, obviously, the human dimension. Is it still 7 people, they think, that they're trying to find?
7 people. It's actually a remarkable story. The New York Times was reporting this morning that the ship lost power but had enough time to issue a mayday call. So they said, we're going to hit the bridge. And in the time, now ships don't move particularly quickly, certainly ones that are 948 feet long, they were able to close both ends of the bridge. It's why there weren't more cars on it at the time that it all took place.
Because when you look at the footage and you watch it closely, you see the ship coming towards it. And before the ship's lights flash on, and then you see some smoke coming out of the ship as well when it hits the pylon. But in the sort of 15 to 20 seconds before that, you see about 7 cars go over the bridge and make it all the way across. Yeah. And you think those people, the best interview in the world right now is the last driver to get over the bridge.
Oh my gosh.
Like, he could have seen it out of his rear vision mirror.
So they closed both. They managed to close the bridge and not get any cars on it. The 7 people that are unaccounted for were road workers who were fixing potholes on the bridge at the time. They couldn't get word to them in time. But the people that managed to stop cars getting across are being lauded as heroes this morning. The rest of it is very much still up for investigation. One of the workers is in hospital, but the National Transport Safety Bureau in the US held a press conference that I watched about an hour ago, and the rest of the details were really scant still to this point in time about how many people were still out there and who was being looked for and how many people may have even died.
Do you just think about the logistics of it, though? Like for Baltimore, this is it's probably the equivalent of Sydney losing both the Harbour Bridge and the Anzac Bridge in terms of what it actually does for moving transport around Baltimore. This is their version of the Ring Road. You know, I heard a guy talking overnight about it, and he said the other thing is it's the bridge that when you're in the middle of Baltimore, everyone can sort of see it out their window. You see these twinkling lights, and he said it's just surreal. You know, for them it happened in the middle of the night. It's so lucky it wasn't during the day. Imagine if that was during peak hour.
Well, we'd be talking hundreds of people dead, probably.
Just unbelievable, and it's potentially going to have economic impact too, because how long is the harbour going to be, inoperable for? They're going to have to get this dead. The bridge is 3 kilometres long. It's just staggering, and they don't know because there's, I don't know what you'd describe it as, maybe like the approach ramps or whatever. Like they don't know how damaged it is. It took 5 years to build in the first place. They started construction in 1972, I read, and didn't finish till 1977. Biden's promised that the feds are going to pay the full cost, but it's going to take years to fix it up.
It's a huge deal, and it's potentially still a huge tragedy. The key players in Baltimore have been doing press conferences throughout the morning, so the NTSB will hear from the police, the mayor, and so forth. As they come out and provide more detail, you'll hear it here on 5AA. Marge in Hampstead Gardens has called in. Marge, have you had some elective surgery cancelled? You there, Marge?
Oh, yeah.
How you going there, Marge? Hello, Marge.
You're on.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm not booked in, but I've been waiting 42 months for a hip replacement.
42 months?
Crikey.
So I'm not even on the short list. I can hardly walk.
Oh, Marge, that's terrible.
There's not much hope for me, is there?
Have they given you any sort of time frame, Marge?
No, 4 years.
Who have you been dealing with about it, Marge? Is it through your GP?
Yeah, the Lowell McKeown Hospital.
Oh, crikey. Well,
there's nothing you can do about it, you know.
Yeah, obviously, and through trying to get it all done through the public system, it's just a terrible situation to be in.
Well, I just wonder how many people there are like Marge that got a phone call last night that have been waiting 42 months. Or been waiting however long it might well be with a bad back or a hip or knees that had it cancelled because, well, Easter's pretty busy in the health system in South Australia, so sorry. That electric surgery you've been waiting for, we've just had to postpone it.
Well, that's the simple reason they would have done this. Just pure and simple. The hospitals are chockers.
Which I sort of I'm sympathetic to on one level, but the day before,
yeah.
Well, there's a freight train we couldn't see coming.
Yeah.
Or Easter's surprisingly busy.
The reason they've announced it, remember when we found out that when Steve Marshall was Premier, they did it and they didn't actually make it public?
That's right.
And which was a silly situation. And we found out about it via medicos tipping us off, who were quite upset about it. And at the time, when Labor was in opposition, they said, well, if we ever have to do it, we're going to make it public. But to your point, why make it public Wednesday if they knew they were going to do this? Or did they suddenly decide to do it yesterday morning? Because if they didn't, they should have given people much more warning than less than 24 hours. But we are going to be talking to the Health Minister, or we're trying to talk to the Health Minister or the SA Health CEO later in the show. My understanding is maybe sort of life imitating public policy. Poor old Chris Picton's currently crook with COVID.
Oh, is he?
So I'm not sure if he's going to be on deck.
Might be a good morning for it.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Lynn says, very disappointing about elective surgery. I'm also on the wait list and about to lose my job because of it. The other thing about surgery is people aren't not everyone's just blasé about getting surgery. A lot of people have to sort of gee them up about going in and being under anaesthetic for hours, and it's a nerve-wracking kind of a thing. To be told the night before or a day out, oh, sorry, that one's off for a while.
Yeah, it's not like you know.
People are treated like they're just columns in an Excel spreadsheet.
Well, they are.
Yeah, you're right.
It's shocking.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. 16 after 6, we're going to check news headlines in just a moment.
The passing of someone close places unique stress on family and friends. At this time, Farrell and O'Neill Funerals are here to provide reassurance and peace of mind. Farrell and O'Neill offer creative guidance and advice to tailor a service that best honours your loved one. Whether a large gathering or a small, intimate service, Farrell and O'Neill share their generations of experience in tailoring a unique and meaningful farewell. Proudly SA family owned and operated, because it's personal.
It's Edward here from Edwardstown Mazda.
Thanks, Edward. I've got this. And it's big news.
How big?
Really big. Edwardstown Mazda have extended their sale with huge Mazda factory bonuses across a wide range of Mazdas. Plus, get a $2,000 trade-in bonus on top of your trade-in price. Only available at Edwardstown Mazda.
Wow!
I know, right? Wow!
Plays a jingle sing.
It's gotta be
Edwardstown Mazda. T's and C's apply.
At the brand new Kent Town Hotel, there's room for everyone. The Kent Bar oozes with happy times and has outdoor seating undercover for about 150 people. The upstairs balcony bar, they've got another 150 seats inside and out up there. And then, if you're having a smaller party, the pool room there's about 30 and has a hell of a lot of fun.
Oh, the whole place is sensational. Will and I have been in. You've got to see the redevelopment for yourself. Tom, the owner, he's been in hotels all his life. He knows how to make your experience memorable, like the stunning 90-seat restaurant that opens fully to the street, where you'll find oysters opened French style. For those of you who are wondering, French style is where they serve them with a shallot vinegar, with a sherry vinegar with finely diced shallot. That's the French way. And I'll tell you, the wines at the Kent Town, absolutely superb. They've got a dedicated wine room with more than 400 wines to choose from.
Go in and see for yourself why they won the Best Hotel Redevelopment Award.
The Kent Town Hotel, everybody is loving this pub.
Hi, I'm Steve Wormald from Walco Liners and Covers out at Paraka. We're a manufacturing business. So far as advertising, we've done a few things. Print, magazines, a couple of spots on TV, but we'd never done radio. Contacted FIVEAA and were teed up with James Wellham and thought we'd give it a go. Very much James's pitch was that quite distinct from a radio show with music. A talk show, advertising that comes in on chat show will be more like a testimonial. So that was quite attractive to me to give that a go and actually be personally endorsed, I suppose, by the talk show. FIVEAA is the only one in town. We gave it a go. That was 2016.
To get your message out there and grow your business, visit fiveaa.com.au and hit the Advertise With Us link for more information.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
9 after 6 news headlines on this Wednesday morning.
Just quickly, good text from Lisa in West Beach. It's a conspiracy theory, Lisa, but it's one that's very believable. Lisa says, why hold off on advertising the cancellation of elective surgery? Dunstan by-election? Well, good question, Lisa.
It's an excellent question.
It's a really good question.
It's an excellent question, Lisa. Thank you. This one snuck out, this news story, at about 5 p.m. yesterday, so not a lot of people will be across it. A police operation focusing on public safety and robberies in Rundle Mall has arrested a stack of people in the last 48 hours, a half dozen arrests, and 2 reports in the past 2 days. So this is just a sample of Rundle Mall, now heavily policed, what it's like the last 2 days. There were 4 incidents yesterday. One of them, a 16-year-old from Northfield, allegedly caught with a machete after stealing clothes from a sports store.
A machete?
Yep. A 14-year-old boy was allegedly found in possession of a knife in a female's handbag. Several people have been busted with meth. You should see...
What is this, Port Moresby?
SAPOL have put up...
Who's getting around with a machete in the mall?
Oh, you should see these things. SAPOL have put up pictures of the weapons some of these degenerates in Rundle Mall have been carrying around. And it looks like people are planning to cut a swathe through the Amazon rainforest. Well, it's ludicrous.
Unbelievable.
There's still no definitive result in the seat of Dunstan following Saturday's by-election, but the gap is narrowing. Do they count on their fingers at the Electoral Commission? It seems to be taking a long time.
You probably haven't seen it yet. It's this type of film that you'll see when Rosie's older.
Mm.
But Zootopia, there's the excellent scene at the Motor Rego. You might have seen it because, plenty of adults.
You've showed it to me.
The sloth. The sloth who works at the Motor Rego office.
To
Nice to see you too. Hey, Flash. What do you call a three-humped camel? It's the funniest sketch, and it's the best parable for the way government can work. And yeah, maybe Flash is in charge of the county.
Well, the state of play is this. It's narrowed significantly. The Libs now sitting at 49% two-party preferred, Labor on 51%. No one's changed their tip yet. Maybe someone out there has, but no one publicly. More than 6,000 postal and pre-poll votes have now been counted. There's still a bit of counting to go. It's going to be closer than first thought, but still going to take, I think, a statistical anomaly for Anna Finizio to get over the line.
I am still titillated by the whole concept of the Liberal leader having publicly apologised, confirmed that he was thinking about tendering his resignation, talking about how they need to introduce a factional system, all off the back of a devastating loss, which turns out they might actually win.
We started the program this morning talking about the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore that was hit by a cargo ship. Rescue crews are searching for at least 7 people. 2 have been rescued. These were people that were on the bridge at the time. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott says it's an unthinkable tragedy.
All of those who are impacted, those families, pray for our first responders and thank them. All of them working together, city, state, local, to make sure that we are working through this tragedy.
Also, we had a call a moment ago on the elective surgery question. It's been postponed in Adelaide for 48 hours in the lead up to the Easter as the health system deals with very high demand. All non-urgent surgery, so categories 2 and 3, in the metro area will be postponed until 11:59 on Thursday night. I wonder where you get rescheduled to then.
Well, you're probably not doing it over the long weekend.
No, exactly. So when
who knows?
Emergency or urgent Category 1 surgeries and paediatric surgeries will not be affected. We will be speaking with the CEO of SA Health a little bit later about that. Australia's 2 major capitals have seen the largest surge in population on record. So all those immigration stories you've been reading, have a listen to this.
This is the 548,000.
Yep.
Sydney and Melbourne, they've got pretty much all of it, have they?
Melbourne surged by 166,000 residents, about 455 people a day over the period. Melbourne's urban area is now home to 5.1 million people, Sydney 5.04 million people. You look at the graph at the moment, there's natural, so the graph's broken down into these 3 sections. There's intrastate migration, natural increase, which is births, and migration. You cannot see the former 2 categories. They are completely eclipsed by migration. They're almost, you need a magnifying glass to see them on the chart.
So I just did a quick Google search, trying to conceptualise what 166,000 people looks like for Victoria. To put it in its context, the population of Bendigo is 103,000. So this is the equivalent in 1 year of getting 1.5 new Bendigos. That's extraordinary. Well, Bendigo is a big, big place. It's just crazy. And there's just no planning around this, and it's why people are starting to freak out. And yet again, it shows, we're living in la-la land here in Adelaide talking about how crowded we are. We're not crowded at all. We should be getting a bigger slice of those Melbourne people. And part of it too, the people who complain about, our population and are not wanting to get bigger, it feeds into things like elective surgery. Because it feeds into an inability to get staff to look after an ageing population.
Yeah, absolutely. Top of 25 expected in the city today. Beautiful day on the way. It's 12 degrees right now, so cool like it has been all this week during the morning. The days are going to heat up beautifully over the long weekend. So tomorrow 26, Friday we hit a top of 29, Saturday 31, mostly sunny there on Saturday, and Sunday too, 29. 27 on Monday and 26 on Tuesday. When the UV is 3 and above, cover up, use sun protection, stay sun smart and download the SunSmart app. The UV today predicted to reach 8 which is considered very high. Now, Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors, gliderol.com.au. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Oh, so much sport. It's juicy this morning. Let's get into it, shall we? Socceroos, great win last night. Craig Goodwin, outstanding. 2 goals. This was one of them last night.
Options right and left. A little scoop over the top for Craig Goodwin. And he fires it in. That's a glorious goal. Befitting of a really good performance by Craig Goodwin on his return to the team after illness. What a hit! Australia 3 clear now.
Great result. Audio thanks to Paramount. So they're looking for their 6th consecutive trip to the World Cup finals. That's a big step. They're into the final stage of World Cup qualifying. That's when it really gets serious.
When do we know for them? Not I almost said Matildas. When do we know? When do we know for the Socceroos, Tom? How long until it's all locked away?
Well, I think we're still a couple of years away from the actual World Cup, so that's going to take a while.
And it's not. There's no intrigue around it this time. Like it would be an unmitigated disaster not to qualify for the World Cup. It's 48 teams.
That's the thing. So look, they should.
48 teams. It's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, obviously it's a money spinner, isn't it? But look, they should make it, and good to see Goodwin not only scoring 2 but setting a couple up. Now, the other story I wanted to touch on this morning, and I'm sure you're talking about it at length already, is this story with regards to the AFL and Zishan Aram, the doctor who's turned whistleblower
from Melbourne,
from the Melbourne Football Club.
Needless to say,
claiming that there were off-the-book tests to ensure players would not risk being tested and suspended for breaches to the World Doping Code for illicit drugs. So he's saying that they'd get secretly tested and sanctioned by the AFL. If you're clear, go ahead and play. If you're not David Pemberton, and I'm using you as an example, if you're not clear, there's something in your system, David, you've got an eye injury or you've got a hamstring injury.
Yeah, a bit of calf tightness, you're out this week.
You're sitting out this week.
That's what I want to ask. So they'd say that they had fake injuries if they detected cocaine in their system.
Correct.
The most extraordinary thing I think about this story is everyone's put their name to it. The former doctor, the president, Joel Smith's father is involved in this as well. And it was Andrew Wilkie in Parliament who spoke about it.
That's right.
Put it all
under
on the record.
Parliamentary privilege. Yep.
The most extraordinary allegation is that it's not just the Melbourne Football Club didn't have a secret lab. It's that when this gentleman became the doctor, the AFL said, hey, this is how it works. We've got this lab that you can send you guys off to just to make sure everything's ridgy-dig before the weekend and we don't get any unwanted drug tests, positive drug tests that come out. It was all sponsored by the AFL. That's the strength of the allegation.
Yep. It's frightening. It goes all the way to the top and, allegations. Understand all of that. So it needs to be investigated.
But isn't there such a weird siege mentality at the Melbourne Football Club? Like their board and their current leadership, they seem to be prepared or attempting to write all of this off as, well, that's just sort of embittered, disgruntled former employee making claims. Now, this guy's a rigid doctor. He's got his professional reputation to think about, and it makes it look like, well, that's probably the key reason he left the joint. Because it sounds like, based on this, it sounds more like the Medellin cartel than a football club.
Yeah. Yeah.
The AFL provided no comment on this story, did they?
No.
I find that extraordinary.
Well,
would you want to get out, if this is all garbage, would you want to get out ahead of it and say, hey, you'd want to be careful printing that?
Yeah. I think without someone like Mick Warner who just calls it like he sees it.
He's fearless, isn't he?
He's a terrific. But he's a unique Victorian football writer in that he doesn't appear to be indebted to anyone or mates with anyone. And you see it, and I'm not trying to pretend that the camp wasn't a story, but you can see it with the obsessive nature of the coverage that thing got out of Victoria compared to the largely crickets about this, with the exception of Mick Warner, which is probably another line of defence that the current Melbourne leadership would run. Oh, that's just Mick Warner.
Yeah.
He's obsessed. He's actually got good news judgment.
Again, just to be clear, this is all on the record. These people have written documents and they've signed their names.
Yep.
And it's been spoken about now in Parliament.
It has the potential, I think, to be the biggest football story of this year comfortably.
Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt.
It's huge.
Andrew Wilkie wants the Prime Minister to get involved. He wants some sort of inquiry into the AFL because they do receive millions of dollars of taxpayers' money on account of they've signed up to WADA and SADA and all these sorts of...
Oh, yeah.
This is the whole point. You're meant to be this clean drug sport that's setting a healthy living standard for Australians.
I think, though, from a federal perspective, once bitten, twice shy when it comes to sticking your beak in on that stuff, given what happened with the Essendon scandal.
Yes.
They went out so hard so early and ended up looking like they'd over-egged it for political gain.
That was Jason Clare, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah.
Well,
Intriguing.
big story, huge story, Rennie.
On you, Tom.
Thanks, boys.
More to come on 5AA Breakfast next.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 25 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
From chips to replacements, make Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. CompleteWindscreens.com.au.
At least 6 people are still unaccounted for in the US after a cargo ship lost control and struck the Baltimore bridge, triggering it to collapse into the harbour below. Crew managed to issue a mayday call, allowing transport authorities to close the Francis Scott Key Bridge to traffic, but a number of road workers were still on the bridge when the ship made impact. 2 people have been pulled from the water. 1 is in a serious condition in a hospital. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott says it's an unthinkable tragedy.
For all of those who are impacted, those families, I pray for our first responders and thank them, all of them working together, city, state, local, to make sure that we are working through this tragedy.
President Joe Biden says the US government will pay to rebuild the bridge, with 15,000 jobs reliant on the Baltimore port. Elective surgery is off the table for the next 2 days. It's been postponed in Adelaide's public hospitals to help ease the demands on our health system. All non-urgent Category 2 and 3 surgeries won't be back online until 11:59 tomorrow night. Emergency or urgent Category 1 surgeries and paediatric surgeries are not impacted by the ban. The AFL is being accused of facilitating drug tests to ensure players with illicit substances in their systems aren't being played. Federal MP Andrew Wilkie has read out a signed letter from former Melbourne Demons doctor Zishan Aren, where he admits to off-the-books drug tests. He says players who tested positive were told to fake an injury so they wouldn't breach the doping code. Mr Wilkie read out the letter in federal parliament, which says it's a league-wide problem.
This isn't just a Melbourne problem. It's an AFL problem, with multiple players coming to Melbourne from other teams with pre-existing cocaine dependencies, more than suggesting that drug testing workarounds are in fact commonplace elsewhere in the AFL.
Julian Assange has won a temporary reprieve in his fight against extradition to the US. The UK High Court has ruled the WikiLeaks founder can't immediately be extradited on espionage charges. The case has been adjourned until the 20th of May. The judges say they will grant Mr Assange a new appeal unless US authorities give further assurances about what will happen to him. The federal government's being urged to guarantee the price and availability of popular vehicles won't be affected by new efficiency standards. Labor is introducing rules to boost the uptake of electric and low-emission vehicles. In a compromise with the auto industry, some SUV models will be subject to less stringent pollution restrictions. But Shadow Transport Minister Bridget McKenzie says the policy is still flawed.
This was a tax on the family car. It is a tax on the family car, and it's going to be a tax on the family car going forward. The Liberal and the National Party stand firmly with our families, our farmers, our tradies and our small business owners, who we believe will still be affected.
And now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Former Adelaide United captain Craig Goodwin has played a starring role for the Socceroos as they cruised into the final round of qualification after thumping Lebanon 5-0 in Canberra last night. Goodwin scored 2 goals and created another 2 as the Aussies took a big step forward as they chase a 6th consecutive trip to the FIFA World Cup finals. Coach Graham Arnold telling Paramount he was delighted with the result.
I was very happy and proud of the young ones. They took the ownership when they went on the park, and the future is bright.
Let's go to football, and Port midfielder Jason Horne-Francis is set to miss another week with a hamstring injury as the Power prepare to host Melbourne on Saturday night. They've started the season with a couple of wins, but new recruit and defender Brandon Zerk-Thatcher told Rowie and Timmy G there's definitely room for improvement.
We know we didn't play as well as we would have liked in that first half, but it was pleasing to see the boys respond in the second half, and it was good to come away with a win for Trav.
Meantime, Carlton expects star midfielder Sam Walsh to remain on the sidelines for up to 3 weeks as he recovers from a back injury. Blues trio Jacob Weeder and Caleb Marchbank and Jesse Motlop are all set to be available and play this weekend. And in some tennis to finish, Aussie Chris O'Connell is serving at 4-5 in the first set against Italian Yannick Sinner. That's in their fourth round clash of the Miami Open. And that's the 5AA Sport.
And now the 5AA forecast, mostly sunny 25 today, tomorrow sunny 26, Friday sunny 29, then Saturday mostly sunny 31. Right now it's 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes to 7, getting reviews through from Tom on the Tom Jones concert last night at Memorial Drive. The consensus is Tom Jones, at 83 years of age, his voice has lost absolutely nothing. I'm told it was an absolutely spectacular concert last night. Our newsreader, my father, Graham Goodings, was there with my mother.
Oh, really?
They absolutely loved it. Con loved it. He sent through a little video just off his phone of him recording a bit of Tom Jones. It's Con just sitting there in the venue, phone out. Thank you, Con.
Is that Soccer Man Con?
It's Soccer Man Con.
Con texts us frequently about soccer related issues. He must have had a big clash last night with the guy playing Lebanon.
Yeah, the World Cup qualifier against Lebanon.
Good to see Memorial Drive being used as a music venue again. It's a terrific place to see music. There's been so many great concerts over the years. One of my favourite concerts of all time, Midnight Oil, played there in about 1984. Red Sails and the Sunset Tour. From memory, AC/DC played there as well. Hell's Bells, although I wasn't allowed to go to that one. Mum and Dad said no. The crowd are too rough, David, at an AC/DC concert. You are not going to see AC/DC.
It's not the kind of place a school captain goes.
Co-captain.
Co-captain.
Let's not forget Tracy Oxton.
Was it like the Adelaide Football Club? Was everyone the captain?
No, it was a very progressive school. We had a male captain and a female captain.
Is that right?
We did. Head of our time.
We've got the roof on Memorial Drive too, yeah. So it'd be a very different experience to those earlier concerts that you went to. If you were there, give us a call and give us a review of Tom Jones last night. 82230000. Text us on the Duttons text line. A lot of people already have. Duttons Ford. Why wait? The range is in stock now for immediate delivery. Duttons, easy to do business with.
One here from Michelle. Morning, guys. The public hospitals are so full. Staff are doing their best. How about we talk about private health premiums going up all the time? This is why the hospitals are so full, and it's getting worse. Nothing is ever said or done about private health or radiology costs people have to pay. It's absolutely awful. People have their surgeries cancelled, but if there's not a bed for them to go into, what can they do? Correct. Good text, Michelle. Thank you.
Phil's on the line. Morning to you, Phil.
Morning, boys. How are you?
Good, thanks, Phil.
I sent a text to you about the Derwent Bridge disaster in about 1974. Lucy just rang me and asked me if I'd talk to you guys.
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that, Phil. When the news broke about Baltimore, I was at the newsroom at Channel 7 and I was standing next to Michael Smith and we were watching the video and the first thing he said was, it's like the Derwent Bridge disaster in Tassie.
Yeah.
You weren't living in Tassie at the time, were you, Phil?
No, I wasn't in Tassie, but I was at sea. I went to sea as a cadet in 1978, so I think in 74 I was still at school, but I did move to Hobart after that disaster at some stage.
So, Phil, that boat, what was it called?
It was the Lake Illawarra.
The Illawarra, that's right. And it's still there, isn't it? It's on the bottom of the river.
It is. It's sitting adjacent to the pylon that it hit. If you ever go to Hobart and if you go to the museum there, there's a model of the bridge and where the ship is sitting. It's quite interesting. I don't know if it's still there, but it was quite an interesting thing to see.
Absolutely.
I remember that photograph of the car the one that you
edge.
mentioned in your text, Phil, hanging off the bridge. It's just terrifying.
Thank you, Phil. I think a lot of people in Australia drew comparisons between the tragedy in Baltimore and the one in Tasmania. Let's go straight to Baltimore now because Miley Hogan for 7 News is at the scene covering the story. Miley, good morning to you. For those of our listeners who are just waking up, they saw the image last night on the news, but the last 12 hours they haven't been across developments. What have we learnt whilst Adelaide's been asleep?
Good morning, guys. Well, look, there's been a lot of developments in those last 12 to 14 hours. What we know now is that cargo ship did put out a mayday call, and if that gave workers time to block off traffic and limit the amount of people that were able to cross that bridge. And by doing that, they've saved lives. Now, there were also construction workers on the bridge. Now, those construction workers were out of their vehicles, filling in potholes. Now, authorities believe that the vehicles, if you've seen the vision, you can see clearly that there are cars on the bridge that did plunge into the water. Now, authorities believe that those vehicles belonged to the construction workers and that they were out of their cars at the time working on the bridge. So at this stage, they are still treating this as a rescue mission. Unfortunately, they have recovered one body from the river. 2 others have been saved, and they still believe that there are 5 people out there. So you can hear the helicopters going overhead. The ships are in the water. They really are hoping that these people have survived.
We're just watching the footage on our own live stream now, Miley. We were saying before, you see this rush of cars right before the boat hits. How lucky are those people? Imagine being the last motorist to get past the bridge before it collapsed. It's just extraordinary. But to your point, though, the flow of traffic does seem to stop, by and large, just before it hits. So that illustrates the fact that they did manage to close the entry points.
Yeah, they're still working on nailing down the exact time frame, but if you watch this vision, you can see the lights on the cargo ship go on and off. So they've reported that they've lost power and propulsion. That will be part of the investigation. They've made a mayday call, which has managed to reach workers on the bridge who have then shut down that traffic. It all happens very, very quickly, because then in the next few moments, the cargo ship then rams into the pylon and the entire bridge collapses, as you've seen in the vision. Absolutely unbelievable to see that bridge collapse so quickly. But authorities are saying that mayday call may have been the key here that has really helped save further lives. But of course, for those construction workers on the bridge, it would have been absolutely a terrifying moment.
So what does it mean for the city of Baltimore, Miley? What are the locals saying about the impact of the bridge? I understand it's pretty key to the interstate highway, is it not?
This is going to have a massive impact on Baltimore. 30,000 vehicles use that bridge every single day. Wow. So that's going to be a massive issue for people getting around. Also, this is the Baltimore port. It's one of the biggest ports in the US, a massive automobile port. They're going to have to figure out a way to divert those ships to other ports around the east coast of the United States, and they're going to have to rebuild an entire bridge. So it's going to be a really long knock-on effect.
I know that President Biden was very quick, rightly so, to scotch any suggestion that it was terrorism or anything like that, but I tell you what, you wouldn't want any creative terrorists to be watching this footage, because it shows how vulnerable infrastructure is. If you get your hands on a ship like this, you could do all sorts of damage to, other bridges. It's just crazy. Hey, Miley, thank you so much for that report. Miley Hogan there for 7 News in Baltimore. Geez, poor old Baltimore. I think it's in the top 3 or top 5 most dangerous cities in the US. It's really desperately poor, huge sort of, huge working class city, like a bit like Detroit or Pittsburgh. Cities that are really been doing it tough.
The Wire was based in Baltimore, wasn't it?
Correct.
They're very famous and critically lauded TV program.
And all those unbelievable underground movies made by the legendary John Waters. Desperate Living. It's got a real subculture.
Do you know the other thing that was invented in Baltimore? It was certainly written by someone from that part of America, was Star Spangled Banner, the anthem, which is who the bridge was named after.
Francis Scott Key.
Yeah.
Apparently it's based on seeing some battle that happened in 1812.
And not knowing who'd won the battle.
Yeah.
Because there was smoke and still you're looking down at a hill at this fort. Whose flag was flying over the fort? Was the only way you knew who won the battle. And the US, the poem is about the US flag being visible through the smoke and the rockets going off.
It's hard to beat, I reckon, as far as anthems go.
Yeah, it's right up there. It's right up there. Andrew and Para Hills got along to see the Tom Jones concert last night. What'd you think, Andrew?
Morning, boys. I was a bit dubious when he shuffled onto the stage. I was like, oh, how's this going to go? And he just and he sat on a stool. I thought, oh, okay. But then the first note, he just went bang, and 21 songs later, he was still banging it out and had a massive smile on his face. did all his hits. I'm actually a singer in a band myself, and I'm 63, and I want to keep going. He's given me a whole inspiration on life, and how he remembers all those words is beyond me, but wow. And the woman next to me said, oh, he's off to Chile after this for a concert. I'm thinking, this guy is amazing, and loved it. Few songs, and he was recognising his age and his mortality, which I think was great as well. He sang that, and he sung a song by a Welsh woman that was about, being buried and going to dust, and I think the guy is just loving life. It's beautiful.
So he was moving around well, Andrew, doing a bit like when Mick Jagger was here. I was looking at that guy thinking, this guy's old enough to be, a great-grandfather, and he's, just sashaying across the stage, so he's still got it, you reckon?
So Tom didn't move. He shuffled on stage, and he stood in the same spot. I think his legs are a bit wonky, but
sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you said that he was sitting down at the start, and then once it started, he was off. But no,
he just up, and he really was. He's on one spot, but wow, his brain and his mind and his voice. He hasn't lost that timbre and that Tom Jones sound. It was just brilliant. Yeah,
excellent.
Yeah.
Great review,
excellent.
mate.
I tell you what, we're going to give you, Andrew, a $100 unique home styles food voucher for calling and giving us that review. Get unique pies, sausage rolls, and donuts from your local independent supermarket. Unique, it's time for something better. It goes to show. And we always get pilloried when we talk about the subject, even though most of the time it's based on opinion polling and a genuine political debate that's going on. But the number, age as a number, is irrelevant. It's your capacity and how well you're holding up. So Tom Jones is 2 years older than Joe Biden.
Yep.
And he's 100% firing on all cylinders.
I wouldn't like to see Joe Biden's version of Delilah. I think he'd be found wanting.
He's not doing a 21-song set,
No,
Joe. I think it'd be more of a...
Yeah, he's flat out doing a 21-sentence press conference.
All right, let's check traffic, police and weather next. When the UV's 3 and above, cover up, use sun protection. Stay SunSmart. Download the SunSmart app.
Thanks, Will. And morning, David. At Mansfield Park, traffic lights out there. Green Junction Road near Hanson Road. At Hope Valley, roads closed due to a burst water main. Reservoir Road near Green Junction Road and Hoover Road. And a burst water main at Richmond this morning. South Road near James Cogden Drive. A bit slow at the moment. Brighton Road, Brighton with cameras Main North Road, Elizabeth Park and Elizabeth Way at Elizabeth. Freedom's new season sale ends today. Save up to 25% off selected sofas, plus get 50 months interest-free store-wide. Conditions apply only at Freedom. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Struggling with your CPAP therapy? Try the world's first auto-fitting mask from Fisher & Paykel Healthcare. Respirocare Healthcare is offering the Fisher & Paykel Sleep Style device for 30% off, plus a free solo mask valued at $310. Visit one of 6 Respirocare clinics and mention this ad to redeem this offer. Respirocare Healthcare, proudly serving South Australia for 20 years. When considering whether CPAP is right for you, speak to your doctor. Always follow the directions for use.
Hey, you in the car? If your next service is due, just remember that Mawson Lakes Mazda has your back. We'll take care of you with next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash, and your breakfast or lunch is on us. Your car gets the love too, with our state-of-the-art service centre brimming with top-trained mechanics. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, we'll look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
Now at the Harvey Norman Clearance Centre Marion, TVs, audio, fridges, washers, ovens, cooktops, even the kitchen sink. Have a look today with new stock arriving weekly, and it all comes with manufacturer's warranty. Harvey Norman Clearance Centre, 919 Marion Road, Marion. Run out models, scratch and dent, refurbished stock and new lines. White goods, kitchen and laundry appliances, home entertainment and more. Come see us at the Harvey Norman Clearance Centre. One location, 919 Marion Road, Marion.
Go!
Now, today's the big day. The life-changing Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery, $3.6 million Henley Beach Grand Prize could be yours, but the deadline is midnight tonight.
Yes, that's right. You could be living mortgage-free in a fully furnished Scott Salisbury home at Henley Beach with $250,000 cash in the bank.
So explore the Grand Prize home at 204 East Terrace, Henley Beach. What an address, from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. today. with free coffee and chocolates. Yum. And be sure to get your tickets before midnight tonight.
And remember, by purchasing a ticket in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery, you are in the running for life-changing prizes, and also you can be proud that you're making a life-changing impact. Get your tickets now at homelottery.com.au.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base. Search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
10 to 7, if you're watching along in the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, you'll note we've been joined in the studio by Virginia Gay, who's we're going to talk about the Adelaide Cabaret Festival. We're going to learn a whole lot more about it in a few moments' time. The first Cabaret Festival that Virginia's been the director of. Looking forward to that chat, not far off. Let's talk about the weather first, though. Mark Andalak from the Bureau is on the line. Mark, what kind of Wednesday do we have ahead?
Good morning, guys. Yeah, well, it looks like a bit of cloud on the back of the hills, but it should be a mostly sunny day today. Currently, we've just hit our overnight low of 11.3 degrees, heading for a mostly sunny top of 25 degrees this afternoon. Tomorrow, sunny 26, warming up to 29 on Good Friday. Saturday at this stage, 31 degrees. Sunday, 29, and then back to 27 on Monday. So it looks pretty good for the long weekend. Just keep an eye on Monday. As, we're just a bit unsure about the forecast for Monday, but the first few days look pretty warm.
Yeah, excellent news. Last blast of summer. Fantastic.
Good on you, Mark. Thank you for that. Let's head to SANFL. Senior Constable David Backus joins us. David, we had some gunshots fired overnight.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're investigating after shots were fired in Leeds Avenue at Northfield overnight. So about 10:37pm on Tuesday, police responded to reports of gunshots in Leeds Avenue at Northfield. On arrival, police located gunshot holes to parts of the residence, and at least 2 shots have been fired. So we've collected evidence from the scene, including CCTV footage of a suspect vehicle. Investigations are continuing to identify the suspect. So we're asking anyone with information to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
And Dave, also just a shocking tragedy off the coast of Port Lincoln. Our hearts go out to the Eckert family. In fact, it was only a few weeks ago we had Professor Eckert, who's a sleep expert, on our own program. He obviously survived along with his son, but the other 3 members of his family lost their lives. And a huge operation for SANFL and the other first responders yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a really tragic event. 3 lives were lost after the boat capsized off Port Lincoln. So we were first notified about 8:30pm on Monday night that the boat was overdue. An investigation was commenced, and then a search was launched. So Port Lincoln Police, the Water Operations Unit, and aided by Volunteer Marine Rescue, Parole and a Challenger aircraft from Australian Search and Rescue were also deployed, and some local vessels in the area also responded to emergency marine radio broadcasts from police and provided some assistance. And then about 2am, the helicopter located an upturned boat near Silsby Island, and then a man and a 13-year-old boy were located on a reef nearby and winched to safety, but sadly 3 other people from the vessel were located deceased in the search area. So it's a really important reminder about safety equipment leading into Easter. So, make sure your safety equipment is on board, make sure it's in good working order, but really importantly, make sure it's really available in an emergency. So something like an EPIRB, if you've got an EPIRB on the boat and you can get to that and set it off, then that's the best way to get emergency responders coming to you as quickly as possible, particularly in remote areas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good on you, David. Thank you for
Thanks,
that.
Dave.
Senior Constable David Backus from SANFL. We'll have more in our news wrap after 7 o'clock this morning. Virginia Gay in the studio with us, who I think is one of those wonderful Australian actors who, if you've liked any Australian-made television program in the last 15 years, she's probably been in your 2 favourites. That's probably the easiest way to introduce her. But today, Virginia, of course, we're not talking about your acting career. We're talking about the Cabaret Festival, for which you are now the artistic director. Can you describe to us what that job is like, and perhaps a more G-rated version than your excitement we just got a moment ago?
I did indeed use a lot of non-early morning words, I think is the phrase. I love this job so much. I have been such a fan of the Cabaret Festival for 15 years. I've performed there 4 times with my own shows and in other people's shows. I've been there as an enthusiastic audience member. So I come to it first as a fan. And the idea that I get to help shape whole evenings, whole weekends for our audiences to experience is just electrifying to me. I've been all over the world to find the very best cabaret, to bring it back to Adelaide. And I think the most exciting thing for me has been that often I would be on the other side of the world and I would say, I'd love you to join us at the Adelaide and somebody would stop me, an international star would stop me and say, "We've heard about the Adelaide Cabaret Festival.
Wow.
We've
Really?
heard that it is so warm, it is so joyful, it is so inclusive. Yes, I'd love to come."
Isn't that amazing?
Isn't that gorgeous? And that is actually because of the Adelaide audiences. It's the way that our audiences have embraced this festival and the way that the feeling in the foyers is so, like, just electric, so warm, as I said, so loving. Everybody comes in their glad rags, everybody's covered in, God, in sequins, top hats, all of that stuff. And you find community there. You know, we've got access points for everybody. We've got free shows where everybody can be included. You come along, you sing along in the foyers. We've got shows that are capped at $30, capped at $39. And then we've got our incredible headliners. Oh my God, Festival Theatre. Broadway stars, huge names, glorious things. So you can have a whole variety of an evening just in one place. It's cold outside, but it's warm in there.
Yeah.
It's the best winter festival in the world, I say.
Wow.
I thought you were quoting a Wham lyric there. Or certainly alluding to one. I think the thing, like you mentioned your own involvement, how many people who have, looking at David Campbell's name on the list, there's so many people who've been involved. And I know Kate Sobrano was a recidivist programmer and performer.
Yes,
people,
indeed.
it really seems to get under their skin. Like, once you've been part of it, you want to keep being part of it, don't you?
That's exactly it. It's a real feeling of community and family. And again, that is down to the audiences. But absolutely, it's been crafted by these visionary artistic directors and these amazing programming teams over the years who have achieved so much in such a little footprint. You know, we're just in the festival centre, but it's globally famous and it's got this global reputation. When I put my name in the list that goes David Campbell, Kate Sobrano, Eddie Perfect, Alan Cumming, Tina Arena, I go, "Oh, well, thanks very much for having me at your big famous party." And also, yes, I also like Cabaret. Hello.
Well, looking at the program, and it's going to be released today, I don't think you've got anything to worry about, Virginia, because you've got such an eclectic mix. You know, one thing I reckon a lot of our listeners are going to love is this Olivia Newton-John show. We spoke to her and
Chloe
and her daughter a few years ago. And our listeners, like everyone in Australia, are so moved by her passing.
Yeah.
But
that was a lovely chat because they were having more fun than us and everyone. I think it
was hilarious.
They just giggled along. Had their little in jokes. It was really beautiful.
That's so
mother
gorgeous.
and daughter.
Yeah, she has headlined our festival. I think it was in 2012, and so we have a real sense of love and a kind of ownership. So we wanted to celebrate her incredible legacy, her musical legacy, but also the work that she has done with her wellness centre, the way that actually she has changed the world. So this is a full orchestra show with the Adelaide Symphony Orchestra, David Campbell singing, Jess Hitchcock, Georgina Hobson and Christy Whelan-Brown, and they are four of the best voices in the business at the moment and probably for the next 50 years. They are so incredible. But we've also got Patti LuPone, Broadway legend, Patti LuPone, Lisa Simone, who is Nina Simone's daughter.
No way.
My baby just cares for me.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Feeling
Excellent.
good. So she's going to be singing songs of her mother and also telling stories of growing up. Nina Simone's daughter. Incredible.
That's awesome.
Isn't that
You'd put
amazing?
her in the top 5 female jazz vocalists of all time, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
She's like Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, up there.
Absolutely, without doubt. And Lisa herself is a Broadway star and a chart-topping hit, so she's got a world-class voice. But those stories, what a connection. We've also got Fascinating Aida, who are celebrating their 40th anniversary of being at the vanguard of satirical songs. They sell out the Royal Albert Hall. They are huge in England, and we have them here.
I reckon they played at the Adelaide Festival in 1986.
This is my point. They've been doing this. They have been at the forefront of this for 40 years. And so to be able to celebrate them and go, they are still slaying. They are still so funny. Go and look up Suddenly New Zealand, or an incredible song that got a lot of traction during the apocalypse. You remember when we were all like, let's move to New Zealand. It's surprising, but let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, we're going to be spoilt for choice, and it kicks off, in June, early June?
It does indeed. June the 7th is the gala, hosted by me, where you'll get a smorgasbord of the entire festival. You won't know what's going to be in it, but I'll show you something great.
And the tickets will be on sale today from 10 a.m.
They certainly will.
That's excellent, Virginia.
Very excited. Very, very excited.
Thanks for getting up early and coming in. We appreciate it.
It was so early. Thank you.
Not really artist hours.
It's not. The only way I see dawn like this is to see it from the other side. Ploughing through the night. But,
making me wistful for the old days. I used to be like that too.
Thanks, Virginia.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's
Edward here from Edwardstown Mazda.
Thanks, Edward. I've got this. And it's big news.
How big?
Really big. Edwardstown Mazda have extended their sale with huge Mazda factory bonuses across a wide range of Mazdas. Plus, get a $2,000 trade-in bonus on top of your trade-in price. Only available at Edwardstown Mazda.
Wow.
I know, right? Wow.
Plays a jingle sing.
It's gotta be
Edwardstown Mazda. T's and C's apply.
Up-to-the-minute news for South Australia. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 25 today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Graham Goodings.
Chipped windscreen? Complete Windscreens can repair it from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
Elective surgery has been postponed at Adelaide's public hospitals in the lead up to Easter as the health system struggles with overwhelming demand. All non-urgent Category 2 and 3 surgeries won't be back online until 11:59 tomorrow night. Emergency or urgent Category 1 surgeries and paediatric surgeries are not impacted by the ban. Shadow Health Minister Ashton Hearn says the ban on elective surgery highlights the huge pressure the health system is under.
The cancellation of elective surgery is a drastic measure and it's a short-term solution. Now, more broadly, we know that there's around 19,000 people who are waiting for elective surgery across the state, and for so many of those people it's not elective at all. In fact, we know so many people are waiting in pain and they're often waiting for months on end for this type of surgery just to improve their quality of life.
6 people remain unaccounted for after a bridge collapse in the US city of Baltimore. A 90,000-ton container ship smashed into the structure, causing it to plunge into the water. President Joe Biden says the crew lost control of the vessel. Emergency services were quick to respond.
Which undoubtedly saved lives. Our prayers are with everyone involved in this terrible accident and all the families, especially those waiting for the news of their loved one right now. I know every minute in that circumstance feels like a lifetime. You just don't know.
Shots were fired at a house in Northfield last night. Senior Constable David Koch says they were called to Leeds Avenue just after 10:30.
On arrival, police located gunshot holes to parts of the residence and at least 2 shots have been fired. So we've collected evidence from the scene, including CCTV footage of a suspect vehicle. Investigations are continuing to identify the suspect. So we're asking anyone with information to contact Crime Stoppers.
Investigations are continuing into the fishing boat tragedy that claimed 3 lives off Port Lincoln. Water Police, Parole and a Challenger aircraft scoured the waters near Port Lincoln after 5 failed to return to shore. Well-known Professor Danny Eckert and his 13-year-old son survived by clinging to a reef. The AFL has been rocked by claims of off-the-books drug testing to avoid players being detected on game day, a practice allegedly authorised by the league. Christina Hearn reports.
Federal MP Andrew Wilkie dropped the bombshell in federal parliament last night, claiming he has a signed statement from former Melbourne Football Club doctor Zishan Arain. The doctor claims if a player confessed to taking an illicit substance, they were secretly tested at the Dorovich lab in Heidelberg to ensure they'd be clear on game day, to avoid breaching the WADA code and copping a lengthy ban. If they failed the secret test, the doctor claims players were told to fake an injury. He says this practice is widespread throughout the AFL. Andrew Wilkie is now calling on the Prime Minister to intervene.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Port's players will train at Alberton this morning as they prepare for Saturday night's big match against Melbourne at home. But they'll be without star midfielder Jason Horne-Francis, who's set to miss with a hamstring injury. Meantime, the D's won't be taking any risks with injured defensive duo Jake Lever and Stephen May. Lever has been cleared of serious injury to his knee, while May is set to miss at least the 1 game with a rib injury. The Demons will spend the week in South Australia after Saturday's game against Port, with gather round the following weekend. Vice-Captain Jack Viney says the club won't be taking any risks.
It's a long season and, we're right at the start of it, so I think there'll be a very low risk tolerance to these decisions at this time of year, I think, with such important players like those two.
And Essendon forward Peter Wright will miss the next month of footy after the tribunal handed him a 4-week suspension following his late bump on Sydney defender Harry Cunningham, while St Kilda forward Max King will also miss this week against Essendon after failing to overturn a 1-match suspension for a bump on Collingwood's Finn McRae. Well, the Socceroos are through to the final round of World Cup qualifying following a 5-0 thumping of Lebanon in Canberra. Craig Goodwin, the star, with 2 goals while he set another 2 up. And Aussie Chris O'Connell now has plenty of work to do in his 4th round match against Italian Yannick Sinner at the Miami Open. He lost the opening set 6-4 and Sinner is now leading 3-love in the second set. And that's the 5AA Sport.
And now checking 5AA traffic.
When you cover things, they last longer. Same goes for you. Save your skin. Download the SunSmart app.
G'day there at Mansfield Park. Got traffic lights playing up this morning. Grange Junction Road near Hanson Road. First Watermain slowing things up today as well at Richmond. This one's on South Road near James Cogner Drive. Always pretty slow there. In Hope Valley, another burst Watermain with the road closed. Reservoir Road near Grange Junction Road. Early morning cameras, Kings Road, Parole and Midway Road at Elizabeth Park. Keep your family safe on the roads these holidays. Pop into Bob Jane T-Marts for a free tyre safety check. Call 13 26 25 today. They'll look after you. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast. Mostly sunny and 25 today, warming up each day after that. Tomorrow sunny 26, Friday sunny 29, Saturday mostly sunny 31. Right now in town it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
It all started in the back shed. Maybe it started early. Or late. Either way, the Olympic Industry sale means there's no need to wait. With big savings on our entire range of SA engineered sheds, garages, carports and verandas, you can afford to start something big, tough, or tasty in your own backyard. Start something with the Olympic Industry sale. On now.
Unlock the door to your dream home with Rossdale Homes. And experience life in the home you've always wanted. Whether custom-built split-level, 2-storey or a country home, we tailor each home to your individual style and needs. Our expert in-house design team will truly transform your vision into reality, so you can live your desired lifestyle in the perfect location. Trust us to build your dream home. Rossdale Homes, because trust is a must. rossdalehomes.com.au. 5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Don't mess with a missionary man.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 minutes after 7, David Koch coming up this hour. We'll also chat with the CEO of the SANFL about the SANFL launch this weekend.
Yes.
I'll tell you what.
Real footy.
Well, footy that doesn't have a huge multi-million-dollar fraud allegation hanging over its head.
No.
The story on the front page of the Tiser and Herald Sun, written by Mick Warner, will be something that comes up in our news wrap in a moment, and indeed our chat with David Koch after 7:30 today.
See, the thing is, when you're an SANFL player, you're too busy working as a landscape gardener or a primary school teacher, PE teacher or maths teacher, or working in retail, whatever it is, to get involved in this sort of drug-related malarkey.
Exactly right. You've got to make a good, clean living.
They're all upstanding, solid citizens. They're good friends in Australia's premier Aussie Rules Code.
We will talk about the AFL story in just a moment. We start the news wrap this hour in Rundle Mall with Jade Rodborough, who has details on a police operation going on for the last couple of days that, Jade, continues to capture people. You put police in Rundle Mall and it seems you find all sorts of things. Good morning.
Good morning. They threw the line out and they caught their bait, that's for sure. And now Rundle Mall, it's a little safer as we speak this morning. After SAPOL, they announced they're stepping up their police presence. Now, I can tell you that 6 arrests and 2 reports have resulted in the last 2 days. So listen to this rap sheet. It's quite an extensive one. The cops, as we know, they've been focusing on public safety and also thefts following a spate of both of those in recent months. And as you guys know, you've been speaking to a lot of shop owners, they've just simply had enough. So on Monday, police, as well as the dog unit, they searched a man in Rundle Mall. The 37-year-old Adelaide man was allegedly found in possession of trafficable quantity of drugs, drug paraphernalia and identity cards. He was arrested and charged with 4 counts of trafficking in a controlled drug, 2 counts of possession of a controlled drug and possession of equipment, and 2 counts of unlawful possession of the identity of cards. Then a few hours later, at about 3:10 p.m, officers on foot patrol in Rundle Mall spotted a man believed to be wanted, a 51-year-old from Ingle Farm. He was arrested for an outstanding warrant and charged with 13 counts of deception and breach of bail. Now, he appeared in the Adelaide Magis Court yesterday and was remanded in custody. And then around 9:20 a.m. on Tuesday, police on foot patrol in Rundle Mall, they were alerted to a shop theft by a sports shop retail worker. Now, a 16-year-old Northfield boy, he was located nearby, allegedly wearing the stolen clothing. He was arrested and charged with theft and carrying a prohibited weapon after a machete was found in his possession. Now, he was bailed to appear in the Adelaide Youth Court on the 9th of May. A few hours later, at 11:30 a.m. yesterday, police on foot patrol observed a man on a road bike acting suspiciously. They had a bit of a chat with him, then conversations with the man revealed the bike was stolen, and they found a bolt cutter and an angle grinder and various tools on the 40-year-old from Salisbury Park. He was arrested and charged. Then only a few minutes later, at 12:30, also yesterday, the police and the Dog Operations Patrol, also in Rundle Mall, stopped and spoke to a 14-year-old Campbelltown boy. A search revealed he was allegedly in possession of a knife, 2 balaclavas, gloves and a female's handbag. He was arrested and charged with carrying offensive weapons and an article of disguise and unlawful possession. He too was bailed to appear in the Adelaide Youth Court on the 15th of May. 1:30. Police stopped and spoke to a 37-year-old man. He was searched and found in possession of methamphetamine. He was charged and arrested as well. Then, only a half an hour later, police and the Dog Patrol in Rundle Mall stopped a 17-year-old man from a young girl, after a positive drug indication. Subsequent search allegedly revealed she was in possession of cannabis and also drug paraphernalia. She too will appear in the Adelaide Youth Court. Then, only 10 minutes later, police stopped a 44-year-old Dover Gardens man in Rundle Mall after a positive dog indication. Police searched the man and found a small quantity of methamphetamine. He was reported and will appear in the Adelaide Magistrates Court at a later date.
Jade, it might have been
work.
on reflection, it might have been quicker just to get you to go through all the people that were just shopping in Rundle Mall.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
100%.
3 people have found shopping. And 76 were found breaking the law.
It's clearly like shooting fish in a barrel down there.
This is the equivalent of going to Manham and catching European carp.
Yeah.
And they wonder why people don't want to shop in Rundle Mall when you've got this sort of behaviour carrying on around you. But what concerns me now is, let's keep up this police presence, because, high five, the SANFL have done a fantastic job, but is it just going to push these people to another place?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's a fair point to make.
That's an amazing report, Jade.
Thank you, Jade.
Brilliant.
So just to reiterate, as Jade went through that with the timeline, it's not a month-long operation. About 4 of those people got caught within an hour and a half of each other. That was 2 days. 2 days!
You know what? One thing I always wonder, where is the Adelaide City Council on this? They're meant to be the custodians of the city. Do they take any interest in this? I saw that this week Janet Giles has listed all these questions. She's trying to find out, and it's taken the council 5 hours to prepare all of the data that she's after, all of the feedback she's after. She wants to know how many noise complaints and complaints about congestion were caused by the V8 supercars coming back to the city.
Yeah, see, that's what motivates the councillors.
Talk about don't sweat the small stuff.
Not the fact that Rundle Mall looks like Gotham City at the moment.
Yeah, correct. They should be focused on 2 things. How do we come up with a strategy to avoid rate increases, and how do we restore the reputation of the city amid a total loss of faith, where it looks like shoplifters and meth heads are calling the shots, and meanwhile they're worried about these bourgeois middle class issues. Well, terrible, that buzzing car noise brings in all these bogans from the northern suburbs into our city.
Yeah, that's the real inconvenience, not the 15-year-old people that work in a shop that are coming face to face with a machete-wielding meth head.
Yeah, I would have thought that's more.
Yeah, well, They're quite loud, those V8s. We've been speaking extensively this morning about the cargo ship that hit the bridge in Baltimore. Some extraordinary vision overnight. The Dali is the name of the vessel. The bridge is the Francis Scott Key Bridge. It is now completely and utterly destroyed. Detail has been coming out over the course of the morning of the heroics of people who closed the bridge to vehicles just moments before the ship struck, it giving off its own Mayday signal. That's the New York Times reporting this morning. That said, there is at least one person killed and 7 others who were working on the bridge at the time, construction workers who their status is still unknown. A short time ago, the National Transportation Safety Bureau, the NTSB in the US, held a press conference in Baltimore. Here is their chair speaking on Sky News.
The team of experts include experts in nautical operations, and what they're going to look at and begin to collect is information on vessel operations, safety history, safety record. They'll look at the owner, they'll look at the operator, and they'll look at the operations this day. Today, they will also look at company policy, any sort of safety management system or safety management program will be looked at by them, and our human performance team as well. We have a human performance expert here.
So we're getting key details that are coming out now about the investigation, the search and so forth. There are public officials speaking, police. There's a cavalcade of press conferences lined up for the next few hours. As there are significant developments, you'll doubtless hear them here on 5AA. One of the biggest stories in Australia today is going to be with regard to the AFL and the Melbourne Football Club. I say the AFL in the former because they are now linked to the dramas at Melbourne. The story on the front page of the Tiser, written by Mick Warner, it's the front page of the Herald Sun as well, is going to send shockwaves through the sport. He's quoting Federal MP Andrew Wilkie, who yesterday told Parliament he received a signed statement from former Demons head doctor Zishan Arain, in which he accused the AFL of facilitating tests that allowed players to dodge WADA and independent drug testing, essentially. Basically, people who come to the club, this is how the allegation goes, and again, the AFL hasn't spoken on this yet. The allegation essentially says players who confess to taking drugs in the days before games were then whisked off to a secret testing laboratory to make sure they were clear. Now, if they were clear, fine, you go and play. If they weren't clear, players were told to fake an injury. That's a direct quote from the Melbourne doctor. Now, you might be inclined to think, well, this is clearly a Melbourne problem. There are major cultural issues there. This is being the doctor that was sacked and then settled with a wrongful dismissal trial. Well, he goes on to say there is an institute in Melbourne that the AFL literally tells clubs to do this, to go to use their facilities to allow this kind of subterfuge, to allow this dodging of protocols. Now, the reason this is before the federal parliament, Andrew Wilkie's saying this is a code and a sport that receives millions of dollars in taxpayer support because they're signatories to the anti-doping codes, because they're a clean sport. Well, they're not if the league is providing a way of getting around this very basic testing. It is the most serious of allegations that can be levelled against the sporting code in 2024.
The place is called Dorowitsch Pathology in Heidelberg, and it matters less that this institution is doing the tests than what the club allegedly, as was claimed in Parliament, with either the tacit knowledge or the deliberate disinterest of the AFL. It's the system, it's what they do with the results of these tests that is obviously the most disturbing part of it. But the real problem that Melbourne and now the AFL have got is, now that it's attracted the attention of a federal MP, Andrew Wilkie, who is a guy who has been, tenacious in the past, and is a very intelligent man, pursuing all sorts of different issues. He can do it all under parliamentary privilege.
Mm.
And you've got this hardcore of ex-Melbourne people who basically have been saying for years there is a drug problem at this club and being told to shut up about it. Well, now they've got a direct entry point into a forum which is wholly protected against the laws of defamation by parliamentary privilege.
it's not just the doctor too. We should be clear. Andrew Wilkie, in starting his address, said these are allegations made by the former doctor Zishan Arain, the former club president Glenn Bartlett, who's provided details of phone conversations with the very highest high-ups at the AFL, including Gillan McLaughlin, and Sean Smith, the father of Melbourne player, and now Joel Smith, who's been alleged to have trafficked in a quantity of a controlled substance. So,
more to come on this one, you would think, inevitably.
I'm just trying to think, if this is held up, this is I would have thought this is the most serious allegation of drug culture and drug abuse in a sport anywhere. Now, the baseball in the United States had their problems with a drug culture in the 90s, where it was performance-enhancing drugs that were largely a blind eye were turned to. Everyone accepted it went on. The records got weird. People started hitting unbelievable amounts of home runs. And there was this kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, well, let's just not tell. And that decimated that sport. There's a whole decade that's been essentially wiped from the record books. But that pales into significance of an allegation that holds that the AFL said, hey, here's our secret lab where you can dodge international drug testers. That's I can't think of a more serious allegation that could be made. Well, and the AFL we're getting text already from people. The AFL has to come out and make a statement, and a strong one about this today, going, well, I wonder who's going to be out tonight that's not playing this weekend.
Exactly.
Who's out for one with an unexpected bit of calf tightness or a bad back, or they've been poked in the eye, or a corky that's meant they're going to be missing a week? Like, everyone is going to be raising an eyebrow to this weekend's fixtures in the absence of the AFL making a very strong definitive statement.
Well, we've already had texts on the Duttons text line of people trawling back through past recent games going, it'd be interesting to look at player X and why they were out that week. And there's some notable names amongst them.
Huge story, that one. Absolutely massive. Big one that'll be for the sports show tonight with Rowie and Timmy G as well. When the UV's 3 and above, cover up, use sun protection, stay SunSmart, download the SunSmart app. Let's check traffic.
At Mansfield Park, traffic lights out there. Grand Junction Road near Hanson Road. Hope Valley Road's closed due to a burst water main. Reservoir Road near Grand Junction Road and Hoover Road. And a burst water main at Richmond South Road near James Colton Drive. Slow for works at Glenelg North today. Anzac Highway near Douglas Grove with a camera. Main North Road at Elizabeth Park. School's nearly out and adventures are in at Discovery Parks with year-round experiences for the whole family. Get in quick to secure your holiday booking at Discovery Parks. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
Patients at Flinders are sleeping in corridors as overcrowding worsens at the hospital. We know ramping is an issue. Professor Kerry Freeman is CEO of the Southern Adelaide Local Health Network. Professor, good morning. Internal ramping, that's what I'm calling it.
Matthew Pantelis.
Routinely, our beds at Flinders are full of really sick people.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Ignition for Men, Adelaide's home of luxury menswear, offer an impeccable range of suits by leading Italian brands, including the unparalleled quality and style of Armani, Canali, Zegna, and more. Ignition for Men. What you wear speaks volumes about who you are and where you're going in the world. Make your mark with Ignition for Men. 54 Paynham Road, Stepney. Ignition for Men. ignitionformen.com.au.
The biggest threat to your business isn't your competition, it's cybercrime. Cybercrime threats impacting Australian businesses large and small continues to grow year on year. One call to one solution will put your business in a safe place and save you from the devastating consequences of cybercrime. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Stay safe and protected. Get in touch with One Solution. onesolution.net.au, a Platinum Telstra partner.
Home maintenance is exhausting. You need to know a plumber, electrician, handyman and renovator, or you can forget about all that and swap those numbers for just one number. That number, Precise Plumbing and Electrical.
They're lovely guys, great team there. We went and saw them the other day. From plumbing and electrical work to pipe relining, bathroom renovations, handyman services, they're your one-stop solution with 25 years' worth of happy customers.
Well, they'll service all areas of Adelaide and they'll be there on time and they'll do it every time with an expert in your field of need ready to do top-notch work. In fact, they are so confident in their expertise, their workmanship comes with a lifetime warranty.
And with free quotes and upfront fixed pricing, Precise Plumbing and Electrical Electrical is a name you can trust and the only name you need to remember. Visit preciseservices.com.au.
Join over 60,000 Adelaide homes and say yes to lowering your energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. Yes offers a range of money-saving solutions to upgrade your home and downgrade your energy bills. With subsidies on ceiling insulation, air conditioning, hot water services and LED lighting installations, rebates on new appliances and incentives for recycling your old fridges, it's easy to say yes to Yes. Find out more about your energy saving solutions. Go to yess.net.au.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
25 minutes after 6, let's talk sport. We have been in a news sense, but in a more on-field sense. Let's turn our attention that way. $19 Shinity Monday to Wednesday at the Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and Lighthouse Wharf. You just know it's a Parole hotel. Ned McHenry joins Rowie and Timmy G each Tuesday nights. He was on last night. And, of course, 6 p.m. every week he has his fishing show as well. Well, on Ned's fishing show last night, his Grandma McHenry, called in. And she had some advice for him.
What do you think about the show? What's Sammy doing well and what's something that Sammy could improve on? All right.
Oh, I don't think Sammy needs to improve on anything.
I
love you,
Grandma. Do you think he's introducing all the segments well?
Oh, perfect. Absolutely perfect, yes. I could not fault Sammy or Rowie. No fault there at all. You're the one I could probably just criticise a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit.
All right, well...
You do get off track sometimes.
Okay, right. And what's going on with the off-trackness?
I don't know. I don't look. It's all so light and entertaining and wonderful, and I laugh. I do love you all together. I just wonder if other people are really true fisher people, which I'm not. But I just love the show, and I love you. I wonder if they really need all the rubbish about how you cook carp.
That was our carp bonanza. That was our carp party, Grandma, last week. That was a big episode.
Pardon me, if I ever hear the word carp again, I will be devastated because
I think it's overused.
Well, Grandma McHenry's excellent.
That's superb.
We needed a bit of Grandma McHenry this morning. Unfortunately, the rest of the world of sport, it continues to contain bad news. How about this? This is absolutely heartbreaking, this story out of Brisbane, where last night the Brisbane Lions released some information about our man Tom Doedee, who suffered a partial tear to his ACL in his right knee, the knee that he just had repaired, following an innocuous incident in the final minutes of training last night. So
the poor guy,
he was going to be playing his first game back. He'd made what was being considered an almost miraculous recovery in 48 hours' time.
Yeah,
he was going to be back effectively.
He was playing tomorrow night, wasn't he? He was in the side.
Exactly right. He was named in the side. He was making his comeback. Last few minutes of training, he's done something to his knee. Partial tear of the ACL that's just been repaired.
And when did he do it? He did that knee the first time in what, about May or June last year? June. It was June.
Be something.
The poor bloke. The poor bloke.
So he's going to meet with the surgeon and they're going to work out the path forward. It sounds awful.
How long is his contract at Brisbane?
It was a multi-year contract.
Like 3 years or
so,
something
yeah,
like
something
that?
it was,
3 or
I
4?
can't remember off the top of my head, but he's 27. Second, this is a really sad story about how short football careers can be now with Tom Doedee. Now, I hope he comes back. We love the bloke and plays to his mid-30s.
Totally.
But he's going to have 2 years of his prime, probably, spent in rehab.
I tell you what, the last 2 weeks show the Crows have been missing him too.
Yeah, could do with a bit of the dude stiffening things up back there.
Absolutely. Poor bloke.
We wish him all the best.
We'll send him a message later on.
That's just completely
He's a cracking
heartbreaking.
guy.
We only literally saw that story in the last 2 minutes. Just popped up. Just awful. He deserves a bit of luck.
We love you, dude.
Absolutely.
Good luck, mate.
29 minutes after 7, 5AA News is coming up. David Koch will join us next.
It's Edward here from Edwardstown Mazda.
Thanks, Edward. I've got this. And it's big news.
How big?
Really big. Edwardstown Mazda have extended their sale with huge Mazda factory bonuses across a wide range of Mazdas. Plus, get a $2,000 trade-in bonus on top of your trade-in price. Only available at Edwardstown Mazda.
Wow!
I know, right? Wow!
Plays a jingle sing.
It's gotta be.
Edwardstown Mazda. T's and C's apply.
Whether you're gathering round the telly or round the oval, footy's always better with Maccas, the official partners of the Footy Festival at AFL Gather Round.
Love my Maccas, and all next week, thanks to our great friends at McDonald's, we are giving you the opportunity to win a $5,000 money can't buy experience to the Port Adelaide v Essendon match Friday night at the Adelaide Oval.
Yes, you'll be heading to the match via zip line across the Torrens from the Maccas Footy Festival at Gather Round. Then, hopefully the line has tension in it, because you don't want to be dipping in. Then experience exclusive pre-game viewing by the boundary line during the team warm-ups before settling into the game.
What a cool prize. Tune in for your opportunity to win from next Tuesday, all thanks to our great mates at Maccas.
Adelaide, get pumped to Gather Round. All thanks to Maccas, official partners of AFL Gather Round.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 25 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
From chips to replacements, make Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. CompleteWindscreens.com.au.
Elective surgery has been postponed at Adelaide's public hospitals in the lead up to Easter as the health system grapples with overwhelming demand. Mel Usher has the details.
The ban took effect at midnight. All non-urgent surgery, that's categories 2 and 3 in the metro area, have been postponed until 11:59 tomorrow night. Emergency or urgent category 1 surgeries and paediatric surgeries are not affected. IVF procedures are also continuing. Non-urgent surgeries will only go ahead in the next 48 hours if enough beds are available.
At least 6 people are still unaccounted for in the US after a cargo ship lost control and struck the Baltimore bridge, triggering it to collapse into the harbour below. Crew managed to issue a mayday call, allowing transport authorities to close the Francis Scott Key Bridge to traffic, but a number of road workers were still on the bridge when the ship made impact. 2 people have been pulled from the water, one is in a serious condition in hospital. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott says it's an unthinkable tragedy.
All of those who are impacted, those families, pray for our first responders and thank them, all of them working together, city, state, local, to make sure that we are working through this tragedy.
President Joe Biden says the US government will pay to rebuild the bridge, with 15,000 jobs reliant on the Baltimore port. Shots were fired at a house in Northfield last night. Senior Constable David Koch says they were called to Leeds Avenue just after 10:30.
On arrival, police located gunshot holes to parts of the residence and at least 2 shots have been fired. So we've collected evidence from the scene, including CCTV footage of a suspect vehicle. Investigations are continuing to identify the suspect. So we're asking anyone with information to contact Crime Stoppers.
The AFL is being accused of helping players evade matchday detection of illicit drugs. A former Melbourne doctor has admitted to conducting off-the-book tests to ensure players would not risk being tested and suspended for breaches to the World Doping Code. Federal Independent MP Andrew Wilkie told Parliament last night he'd received a signed statement from former Demons head Dr. Sishan Arain. Excitement is building ahead of next week's Gather Round as events begin to ramp up in regional South Australia. Tourism destinations are set to be busy with 35 events across 6 different regions on offer for locals and tourists to take in the full flavour of the state. Tourism Minister Zoe Bettison says it's all about showcasing the very best of the state to those who are coming from interstate.
But what we really want to do is make sure, given it's in the middle of the Victorian school holidays, is people spend time in region before and after the Footy Festival.
Julian Assange has won a temporary reprieve in his fight against extradition to the US. The UK High Court has ruled the WikiLeaks founder can't immediately be extradited on espionage charges. The case has been adjourned until the 20th of May. The judges say they will grant Mr. Assange a new appeal unless US authorities give further assurances about what will happen to him. And now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Let's start with some breaking news. Horrible news for former Crow Tom Doedee. The Lions confirming he's re-injured his knee at training last night. He suffered a partial tear to the same ACL he suffered last year. That was at training just as he was set to return for Brisbane from a long-term knee injury tomorrow night against Collingwood. Well, meantime, Port will train this morning ahead of Saturday night's match against Melbourne at home. And questions are being asked if a 4-week penalty handed down to Peter Wright will prevent similar incidents in the future. The Essendon tall pleaded guilty to the rough conduct charge after Swan Harry Cunningham was concussed in a collision on Saturday night. Legend Lee Matthews posing the question on Wide World of Sports.
If you get 2 weeks as opposed to 4 weeks, it's the extra 2 weeks a significant extra deterrent to players in the future, because these are split-second things. These are split-second happenings. There's nothing vicious or premeditated about it. It's all a half-step reaction, and I don't think it's any more of a deterrent.
The Socceroos have enjoyed a 5-0 win against Lebanon in their World Cup qualifier in Canberra, with Craig Goodwin scoring 2 goals. The former Reds captain delighted with his form and confident he can keep it going.
I'm still in my prime. I feel like I have a lot to give, and I feel like, you know, that move is helping me progress and be, you know, more of a leader for this team as well. And that's what I want to do. That's always what I want to do with my club team, national level.
Audio there thanks to Paramount. And in some tennis, Aussie Chris O'Connell has gone down in his 4th round match against Yannick Sinner, the number 2 seed, winning 6-4, 6-3. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
When you cover things, they last longer. Same goes for you. Save your skin. Download the SunSmart app.
At Mansfield Park, look out for traffic lights on the blink this morning. Green Junction Road near Hanson Road causing a few delays. We're really busy at the moment with the burst water main. You find this one at Richmond, South Road near James Colton Drive, always a busy spot. And you've got cameras today, West Beach Road, West Beach and Trimmer Parade at Seaton. Fill up with Shell V-Power 98, the premium fuel designed to deliver greater efficiency and improve performance. It's a decision you can feel good about. Details online. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast, warming up through into the weekend, mostly sunny 25 today. Tomorrow sunny 26, Friday sunny 29, Saturday mostly sunny 31. Right now in Adelaide it's 11. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Whether it's the latest Samsung Galaxy S24 or the latest Apple iPhone 15, Harvey Norman has you covered. Head in store to sign up to a new up to $69 a month, 24-month SIM-only plan. And you'll get unlimited calls and texts to standard numbers and 100 gigabytes of data for use in Oz. Plus, you'll receive an $800 Harvey Norman gift card when you sign up. Tell them I sent you and you'll score a further $100 gift card. That's $900 towards your new phone. With a deal this good, there's some fine print. Minimum plan costs $1,656 over 24 months. Maximum of 5 gift cards per account. Recontracts and rate plan changes excluded. Plan cancellation fees apply. See in store for details.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you. Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base.
For immediate delivery, Dutton's easy to do business with. We'll get to some of those texts shortly. Apologies to those we haven't gotten to. They always inform the conversation, even if we can't get to them.
This is a really good one from Tanya. I'm still gobsmacked about the bureaucratic idiocy the Griggs family are being subjected to.
So are we.
Oh, can people in high places get a guarantee from the Minister, Andrew Giles, that if Kirsty departs Australia to submit her new visa application, it will be approved instantly? At the same time, can the community crowdfund a nice little 2 or 3 day holiday for Kirsty to go to, say, New Zealand or Singapore? That way the family aren't separated for an unknown time. They avoid the financial burden of a trip back to the UK, anything to reduce the drama and trauma for the parents and kids. Actually, Tanya, that is not as fanciful as it sounds, because I was talking again yesterday to Nick Greg, saying, can you guys just go to Fiji together as a family for a week, knowing that the moment you arrive, Kirsty can just email in the new form and sit there, and hopefully immigration, knowing that it's coming, can fast track it. Well, sadly, the way that plotting bureaucracy works,
they're captured by a process.
It takes about 2 years to do it. But you know what I find funny? And look, I think Australia, we have to open our hearts to the civilian victims of Gaza. You know, there've been, everyone's seen the images. You know, I've got no issue with taking people from Gaza as refugees and we've taken 2,000 of them. What I do have an issue with, though, is how rigorous is that vetting process? Because of the 2,000, are any of them maybe Hamas enthusiasts? And how would you ever know? Because the vetting process takes less than 1 day. So if you're someone who may
takes 2 years.
If you're someone who may or may not be a big fan of Hamas, walking around in the apocalyptic chaos of Israel since October 7, the Immigration Department reckons they can vet those people within a day, yet someone who has spent the past, 3 years of her life since she moved to South Australia doing nothing other than pay taxes and work in aged care, tending to South Australia's elderly, she's got to jump through all these hoops? How does that work?
It's utterly ridiculous.
So stupid.
20 minutes to 8.
And they could never.
Events have largely overtaken Plan A, Kochie, and good morning to you. Doubtless you'll have read Mick Warner's reporting this morning in the Herald Sun and the Advertiser on Andrew Wilkie's incredible speech to Parliament detailing the most remarkable allegations against the AFL of effectively sponsoring a workaround for players who have taken drugs to avoid international drug testers. What's your reaction to this story, having, I assume, only heard about it for the first time this morning?
Yeah, I'm absolutely stunned by it because and I'm reticent to comment because I don't know. I only know what we've all read in the paper and the allegations, and obviously the AFL will be investigating it closely. The drug system is sort of the drug testing system within the AFL is basically the domain of the AFL and also the chief medical officers of each of the clubs. So we don't get outside of that great sight over exactly what happens because there's quite rightly for confidentiality and privacy reasons, and there's some medical ethics associated with it as well, that it's really quarantined between medical staff and the AFL. But to have a deliberate route to avoid testing seems beyond belief to me. If you're a serious participant in signing up to the drug testing procedures, the wider drug testing procedures, you would think every I would be dotted and every T crossed to do the right thing. So I'm as shocked as anyone.
I must admit, Kochie, I find it hard to actually believe the AFL House would sign off on something like that. Do you?
I find it really hard to believe.
Yeah.
That's why I'm reticent to comment on whether there's anything in the allegation. It's just after the journey, the experience that we've had back to the Essendon days and the issues there. I would have thought that the procedures would be really absolutely stringent and absolutely to the letter of the law. So I find it really hard to believe.
Port Adelaide board meetings must be a much more relaxing experience than Melbourne board meetings at the moment, but you don't need to comment on that one.
Yeah, I've just touched my head. Touch wood.
No, I can't see you ever getting to that.
Just as a last question on that then, Kochie, because Andrew Wilkie suggested the Prime Minister needs to get involved and there needs to be a higher level investigation. Is an allegation of this seriousness, do you think it necessitates some sort of external review, or can this one be adequately handled in-house?
It certainly needs to be investigated, and the proper people have got to be appointed to investigate it. But there's absolutely no conflicts, and I would think that the AFL would appoint somebody independent to report back to the Commission to just double check So, as I say, there are no conflicts internally as a result of it. Politicising it, gets headlines. I'm not sure that really helps. It absolutely brings attention, and if anything went on, it should be outed. But I think there's got to be a process that's followed, that's well thought through and absolutely detailed in its investigations to make sure that something like that hasn't happened. Whether it's a particular club or it's a culture thing throughout the industry, and I think the investigation needs to be independent, because I feel every club could be tarnished by it if it isn't investigated properly, and I would hate for lots of clubs to be brought into disrepute if it's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Koshy, do you reckon we need to get tougher with these pitch-invading halfwits? That's seen at the Adelaide Oval on Friday night. Will made the good point. The fine's only like $3,000, and if you've got 10 like-minded drunken halfwits together, you can imagine a scenario where it's like, all right, let's all chip in $300 and watch old Chook go jumping over the fence.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Not only is it attention-seeking, but it is disruptive to the game. And also, this bloke was a halfwit that did it. We've had instances of pitch invasions in other sports, tennis and the like, where it's been a lot more dangerous than that. So there has to be some really strict rules in the book, right? And $3,000 doesn't seem nearly enough. An AFL ban, obviously, is a lot as well. Clubs have got to be on board, because it just can't happen. And, you saw the frustration in the players as well. The whole thing just stops for some idiot.
When you think back to Terry Alderman at the Wacker, you can see how bad the consequences can be.
Completely.
Absolutely.
Hey, Koshy, the AFL Chief Executive, Andrew Dillon, seems to have an open mind on the concept of a 24-game home and away season from next year onwards. Is that something that you'd welcome?
Look, I think we've always got to be inventive. We've always got to be disruptive to the game. Now, we talked about it a bit internally, and Ken Hinkley has a really good point, saying, do we need the game to be as long as it is at the moment? Sure, if you want an extra round, yep, consider it if it makes sense for fans and commercially, and the AFL likes it. But cut 10 minutes off the end of each game, because it is just like, you look at the stats. I'm a data bloke, so I'm on the AFL.com app all the time, checking clearances and contested and all that sort of stuff. But you look at the tracker, how much these guys run at speed. It is an enormous strain on their body. They are just super fit, elite athletes, and you don't want to run the risk of breaking them. We've got a lot of injuries at the moment across all clubs. Every week seems to be an ACL, and you wonder, are we playing them till they break? And one extra game, would that be breaking point? But if you reduce the length of the game, each games during the round, because some of them go forever. We've had a couple of quarters this year, 32 minutes, 33 minutes. I know stoppage is brought into that, but even so.
Well, the other thing, Koshy, to jump in, do you reckon, given how competitive the space is now for eyeballs in sport, I reckon a lot of parents with young kids, getting a kid under the age of 8 to sit through an entire AFL game versus a soccer game is a hell of a lot harder, because it basically is half your day's gone going to an AFL match. An
AFL games, in my opinion, no disrespect to soccer fans, is a lot more exciting over that period of time to watch it than a soccer game. that ends up at 0-0. But I think it keeps your attention. Yeah, I think you can. There is an argument that it is a bit too long in this day and age, and I know there are the traditionalists, but we need to stay the number one sport, and we need to respond to what our fans of all ages and demographics are after.
Yeah, plenty in that chat, Koshy. David Koch, Compare the Market Economic Director, and of course the chairman of the Port Adelaide Football Club. Now, the real footy is back tomorrow. I call it the real footy mainly to upset my colleague Will. Darren Chandler is the CEO of the mighty SANFL. Hey Darren, I'm super excited about this. The Moleskin Derby tomorrow night, Sturt v Norwood down there, RM Williams boots everywhere at the parade, and then a big day of football on Friday. Very exciting. And look, in the midst of a cost of living squeeze, well done to the SANFL for keeping prices at the same level as they were last year. $18 for adults, $11 for pensioners and students, and kids under 18, young adults, all get in for nothing.
Yeah, thank you, Vat. It's exciting time of the year, and you're right. Tomorrow night at the parade will be a cracker. Norwood v Sturt should be a massive crowd. The weather's just perfect, and same for Friday. I'll be going out to Prospect myself. North Adelaide v Central's 50 years since they played the first game at Footy Park back in '74. So that should be an absolute cracker. And then, of course, we've got Glenelg playing the twilight game down at the Bay against Port Adelaide, which will be should be huge. And South Adelaide taking on Adelaide, and the Eagles taking on West Adelaide. So yeah, great round of matches and a great weekend of footy.
Darren, do you reckon this is the last year, or could be the last year, we have a 10-team SANFL? Do you reckon this could be the end of it for the Maggies and for the Crows if Port Adelaide leave too?
Oh, look, there's a lot to play out there. At this point in time, we know that they're contracted to be in our competition till 28. Expect that to occur. We know there's a lot of discussion around AFL reserves, and whether the teams want to be in our competition. But they compete really well. They're regular in our finals campaign. They were both in the finals 5 last year. Look, we're moving forward on the basis they'll be in our competition.
Just in terms of the SANFL, I remember Rob Kerrin at last year's grand final was talking about the economic shape that it's in. How's it going attendance-wise? Is it holding up pretty well?
Last year, 12% up on the year before. So attendance-wise was great. 33,500 to our grand final last year. It was a tremendous day. So, yeah, we're doing a lot of work in this space. We've got super matches again this year where every club will turbocharge one of their home matches and really get on board with our partners and promote it. Get plenty of more activities for the kids. So it's all about, you mentioned the price and the great value for money, but we're really hell-bent on making sure the experience for families when they come along to the SANFL games is more than just a great game of footy out in the park. It's an opportunity to interact with a whole range of different activities at the grounds.
Yeah, no, it's good to have it back. It felt like a long wait with the AFL season starting so early too. Darren Chandler, the CEO of the mighty SANFL.
All right, let's check traffic. When the UV's 3 and above, cover up, use sun protection, stay sun smart, and download the SunSmart app.
Thanks, Will. At Mansfield Park, traffic lights out, Grand Junction Road near Hanson Road. High Valley Road's closed due to a burst water main, Reservoir Road near Grand Junction Road and Hoover Road, and Richmond burst water main, South Road near James Colton Drive. Slow for works at Old Noarlunga, Victor Harbour Road near Main South Road, speeds at 40 with the camera Elizabeth Way and Elizabeth. Hungry? Head to a Porto for the new Bondi Strip Box. A Bondi burger, chips, 2 crispy chicken strips and a drink for just $15.95. Limited time only and only at a Porto. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Need a forklift? Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Toyota is the world's #1 forklift brand with a great range of pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Get a Toyota forklift.
A life-changing phone call. A life-changing answer. Is it you? Time's up. Get your tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery now. You could win the fully furnished $3.6 million Scott Salisbury Grand Prize at Henley Beach. Plus, your tickets stay in more than 12,000 draws, giving you a 1 in 15 chance to win. Hurry. Deadline midnight tonight. Life-changing prizes. Life-changing impact. HomeLottery.com.au. Licence M14493.
Now, as Easter approaches, get ready to feast with the finest South Aussie seafood from Samtas Seafoods. Indulge with freshly cooked crayfish and their lowest king prawn prices in years. Dive into raw king prawns from Spencer Gulf. No, this is not a typo. Starting at just $13.99 per kilo pack.
Yeah, experience freshness with local Coorong flounders, $25.99 a kilo. Red Spot Emperor fillets, $35.99. And Tasty Crumb Flathead fillets, $39.99 a kilo. Unbeatable.
But that's not all. Dive into their famous deal. This is crazy. 4 kilos of snap frozen. The price is frozen in time. Seafood favourites for just $60. Mix and match your choices. It's an amazing offer.
Treat your family to premium seafood portions and fillets, flathead, ocean trout, barramundi, Atlantic salmon, smooth dory, emperor and more, all in their 4 kilo deal, just $60.
And then there's fresh opened oysters, prawn and scallop meat, tenderised octopus, salmon and prawn shazliks. I made that for Mark Adonis there. Easter made easy with Samtas.
Samtas Seafoods, factory direct, open 7 days and open on Good Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blowing up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Local and experienced trade specialists.
Or a plumber or electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
4 minutes to 8. I'm going to defend you here, David. We've got a text on the Dutton's text line. Dutton's Ford, why wait? Ranger in stock now for immediate delivery. Dutton's easy to do business with. Tiffany says, David, it's SANFL, not SANFL. Well, unfortunately, Tiffany, it is SANFL. The SANFL changed the pronunciation of the name about 8 or 9 years ago, I think now.
Yeah.
Well, they put out a message to everyone saying, we want it. This is the way we say it internally now, and it's the way we want you to say it.
Tiffany's only half right anyway. Well, you are half right, Tiffany. Because I say both.
I used to always say SANFL until they said, you all have to say SANFL now, because that's our preferred, that's the preferred way.
It doesn't really matter what you call it, does it?
No,
what matters
but it's not factually incorrect you're saying it when that's how Darren Chandler would say it.
Yeah, he's a SANFL man.
Exactly right.
Are all the SANFL people?
All right. Let's give away some. Let's give away some SMEG action.
Smeg it up.
Give us the tea, Adelaide.
What are you holding, Barrel Girl?
I am holding a mixer. I always want to do the full Dirty Harry speech when I'm holding this thing up. Superb. Look at it. Look at that. Look at that design. So sleek.
It is superb. Building or renovating, your first choice, we're visiting the SMEG showroom at Debney Distributors. Taste the difference with SMEG. We've had a huge week for the Rumophile too. Last week, we had about 3 that subsequently became news stories and people called us back with updates on.
Yeah.
You don't have to have one that good. It can be just a decent old whisper. 8223 0000. Let us know and you could win yourself that excellent SMEG mixer on the by calling in and remaining, of course, always totally anonymous. Something big is coming to Macca's, the official partners of Macca's Footy Festival at AFL Gather Round. If you tune in from 6 a.m. all next week, you've got a chance to win. How about this? A VIP experience for the Port Adelaide and Essendon game Friday night at Adelaide Oval. This is all thanks to the great people at Macca's. It is a money can't buy experience. Have a listen. Double pass to watch the game, obviously. A Macca's zipline experience over the Torrens from the Macca's Footy Festival in Elder Park, an exclusive pre-game viewing experience by the Boundary during the team warm-ups as well. That will be a hell of a lot of fun. What a way to get into Gather Round. And all you need to do is listen in all next week from 6 a.m. to be a part of it.
Have you been getting texts and calls from mates in the state about what games they're going to? And
everyone asks you how many games. No, people don't ask you, are you going?
Yeah.
They ask you, how many games are you going to?
I was talking to my brother-in-law in Darwin yesterday because I wanted to see if he wanted to come along with on Sunday to see Collingwood Hawthorn, but then I realised I couldn't go anyway because our son's birthday party, but he said, "Oh, look, I'd love to, but I'm going to Richmond at the parade that afternoon." Flying down from Darwin, especially.
Yeah.
So many people are going to be here. It's going to be wild.
Absolutely. A minute to 8, Breaking at 8 coming up next. Also in the next hour of the program, Dr. Robin Lawrence, the CEO of SA Health, on the cancellation of elective surgeries over the next 2 days, because basically the system can't handle it. Have you had your surgery cancelled? Did you get a call from SA Health last night to say it's off? If that is you, we want to hear from you. 8223 0000 is the number.
Get obsessed with the Honda SUV range at Formula Honda, Modbury and Glen Osmond. Whether it's the compact HRV, the sporty mid-sized Honda ZR-V, or the spacious CR-V. And for a limited time, new Honda SUVs come with a 7-year warranty, 7-year roadside assist, and 5 standard low-price services at $199 each. Visit Formula Honda, Modbury or Glen Osmond and test drive today. Vehicles used for a commercial purpose have a 7-year or 200,000 kilometre warranty, whichever occurs first. T's and C's at honda.com.au.
Here at FIVEAA, we're all about supporting local. Here's who you can support around Adelaide. Barossa Valley Chocolate Company is open 10 to 5 this Easter long weekend. Barossa Valley Chocolate Company, book now for cafe dining or their popular wine and chocolate tastings. Culture your cravings with Yom, the Yogurt Factory's new range. All local ingredients and no preservatives, gelatine, artificial colours or flavours. Available at selected Foodlands. Purchase high fresh salads with the Little Heroes Foundation logo, and part proceeds support children living with dementia. Find them at your local Drakes and Romeos. FIVEAA, supporting local business.
The business sector has had incredible advances in AI. One Solution can show you how AI can streamline your business, introducing efficiencies you never thought possible. You'll save money and time, unlock new growth avenues, and you'll be keeping up with the rest of the business community. With AI and One Solution, you can innovate, optimize, and excel across every facet of your business. One Solution will show you how. onesolution.net.au, a Platinum Telstra partner. The very latest news and information. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 25 today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Graham Goodings.
Chipped windscreen? Complete Windscreens can repair it from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
At least 2 shots have been fired into a home at Northfield. It happened in Leeds Avenue just after 10:30 last night, with several bullet holes found in the home. Police have CCTV footage of a vehicle driving away. Investigations are continuing to identify the suspects. Some people waiting for non-urgent elective surgery will have to wait a bit longer. Category 2 and 3 procedures in the metro area have been postponed in the lead-up to Easter as our health system struggles with high demand. Emergency or urgent Category 1 surgeries and paediatric surgeries will not be affected. Shadow Health Minister Ashton Hearn says the ban on elective surgery highlights the huge pressure the health system is under.
The fact that the government is pulling this lever before we even enter the depths of winter, I think, is particularly concerning. And what this shows is that we need a long-term strategy to be able to clear the backlog of elective surgery, which is unfortunately just going to grow as we're heading into winter.
6 people remain unaccounted for after a bridge collapsed in the US city of Baltimore. A 90,000-ton container ship smashed into the structure, causing it to plunge into the water. President Joe Biden says the crew lost control of the vessel. Emergency services were quick to respond.
Which undoubtedly saved lives. Our prayers are with everyone involved in this terrible accident and all the families, especially those waiting for the news of their loved one right now. I know every minute in that circumstance feels like a lifetime. You just don't know.
Investigations are continuing into the fishing boat tragedy that claimed 3 lives off Port Lincoln. Water police, Parole and Challenger aircraft scoured the waters near Port Lincoln after 5 failed to return to shore. Well-known Professor Danny Eckert and his 13-year-old son survived by clinging to a reef. The AFL is being accused of facilitating drug tests to ensure players with illicit substances in the systems aren't being played. Federal MP Andrew Wilkie has read out a signed letter from former Melbourne Demons doctor Sishan Zorain, where he admits to off-the-books drug tests. He says players who tested positive were told to fake an injury so they wouldn't breach the doping code. Mr Wilkie read out the letter in federal parliament, which says it's a league-wide problem.
This isn't just a Melbourne problem. It's an AFL problem, with multiple players coming to Melbourne from other teams with pre-existing cocaine dependencies, more than suggesting that drug testing workarounds are in fact commonplace elsewhere in the AFL.
In an encouraging sign about the King's health, Buckingham Palace has confirmed Charles and Queen Camilla will attend the Easter Sunday service at St George's Chapel. Other senior royals will join the King at Windsor Castle on Sunday, one of the most significant events he has attended since being diagnosed with cancer last month. But Princess Catherine won't be there as she continues her cancer treatment. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Port Adelaide Chairman David Koch has expressed disbelief and shock to those allegations we just heard a moment ago that the AFL helped facilitate secret tests to help players avoid detection for illicit substances. Koch telling David and Will he's as shocked as anyone.
I'm absolutely stunned by it. A deliberate route to avoid testing seems beyond belief to me. If you're a serious participant in signing up to the drug testing procedures.
Port's players will train this morning as they prepare for Saturday night's match against Melbourne, but will be without Jason Horne-Francis, who's out with a hamstring injury. Meantime, an innocuous incident in the final minutes of training has seen Brisbane defender Tom Doedee tear his ACL. The 27-year-old former Crow was preparing to make his comeback from the same knee injury he suffered at Adelaide last year. Well, the Socceroos have had a 5-0 win against Lebanon in Canberra overnight. It means they're through to the final stage of World Cup qualifying. Craig Goodwin with 2 goals. Alex de Minaur is the last Aussie left in the singles draw at the Miami Open after Chris O'Connell lost to Yannick Sinner. Craig Gabriel reports.
It was a second meeting between O'Connell and Yannick Sinner. O'Connell won their first match, but when reminded of that, he smiled and said Yannick wasn't the player he now is, and not too many hit the ball as cleanly as he does. But O'Connell did get off to a good start and led the Australian Open champion 3-1. However, from then on, not much disturbed Sinner, apart from accidentally hitting his trainer where he shouldn't be hit. Sinner went on to win 6-4, 6-3 and reach the quarters. Later, de Minaur will play Fabian Marosan.
And Lauren Jackson is tipped to be selected for the Opals for the Paris Olympics in what will be her 5th Games. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Let's check 5AA traffic.
When you cover things, they last longer. Same goes for you. Save your skin. Download the SunSmart app.
Morning there. Crash to look out for this morning at Salisbury South, Main North Road near Frost Road, causing a few delays. Also got delays at Richmond with the burst water main, South Road near James Cogden Drive, always a pretty busy area, so even a little bit slower this morning. We are getting busy. Trim Road at Seaton and look out for a camera West Beach Road at West Beach. See one of Goodyear Auto Care's tyre experts before you go on a road trip these holidays, and they'll check your tyres and make sure you're good to go. Call 13 23 43 to book in. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA weather, mostly sunny 25 today, tomorrow sunny 26, Friday sunny 29, Saturday mostly sunny 31. Right now in Adelaide it's 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Struggling with your CPAP therapy? Try the world's first auto-fitting mask from Fisher & Paykel Healthcare. Respirocare Healthcare is offering the Fisher & Paykel Sleep Style device for 30% off, plus a free solo mask valued at $310. Visit one of 6 Respirocare clinics and mention this ad to redeem this offer. Respirocare Healthcare, proudly serving South Australia for 20 years. When considering whether CPAP is right for you, speak to your doctor. Always follow the directions for use.
In Adelaide and across South Australia, this is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 8, breaking at 8, not too far away. After 8:30 today, Dr. Robin Lawrence, the CEO of SANFL, on the cancellation of all elective surgeries for the next 48 hours because the system simply cannot cope at the moment.
When are those new beds turning up?
Yeah. I reckon people that might have had just their knee or back surgery or whatever it might be, might be wondering that. If that's you, if you got the fateful call from SA Health last night, or you were meant to have surgery today or tomorrow, let us know. What have you been told? When are you going to get it done?
I mean, all these things are all part and parcel of the same malaise that still grips their health system, aren't they? And, you know, they created a rod for their own back, but let's just, you know, remember, Labor will fix the ramping crisis.
Well, it's vote like your life depends on it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
where is Ashley Ambo these days? She's gone quiet, hasn't she?
I guess they would say, well, your life isn't on the line with elective surgery. We never promised that they wouldn't be getting cancelled randomly at 24 hours notice.
No, and like the very first caller that we had this morning, now in her 42nd month of waiting to have a hip replacement.
If you've had your elective surgery cancelled, we want to hear from you before we speak with the SA Health CEO, because we want more information on this, when you got told, what you've been spoken about, when it's going to be rescheduled. 8223 0000 or 0448 08 1395. Shoot us a text on the Duttons text line. Josh Rachele coming up in a moment as well. We'll talk about the Crows' chances against Fremantle on Friday night over in Perth. That's not too far away.
The Shadow Health Minister, Ashton Hearn, was just listening to that conversation, and as I was talking, she sent a text through saying there's 19,000 people waiting for elective surgery in SA. Many are waiting in pain. They've been waiting for months on end. This is a blow for so many people, and it is absolutely linked to record ramping.
All right, it's time for breaking note.
Well, the sister of murdered rape victim Anne-Marie Cullerton is seeking justice in the memory of her sister. Eileen Cullerton has written to the Premier, the Minister for Correctional Services, Joe Suckush, and also the Attorney General, Kaya Ma, asking for an independent review into the Parole Board decision to release the murderer Jonathan Bakewell. This is despite multiple breaches of his parole conditions. We have Eileen on the line now. We've spoken to many times over the years. Eileen, good morning. Could you believe that this guy got out, given how many times he's done the wrong thing?
It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. I thought that when they refused his parole application last time, that they'd finally seen sense. The Parole Board had finally woken up to themselves and said, look, this rapist murderer has breached parole numerous times for taking drugs, the same drugs he took when he raped and murdered my sister Anne-Marie. He's been exposed as lying to the Parole Board to their face, and that was exposed in the Supreme Court document in 2022. You'd think that they would say enough is enough. He can't be trusted out in the community. You can't believe a word he says. He's a dangerous, dangerous man, given the severity of the crime. And let's keep him locked up. He's a life sentence prisoner. He has no right to parole. He has a right to apply, but he has no right to actually have his parole request approved. And yet here they are pandering to this rapist murderer. It's shocking. The women and girls in the community are not going to be safe if this rapist murderer Bakewell is released. And as you said, I have written to the Premier, to the Attorney General, and also to the Minister for Correctional Services, saying it is time that there is an independent review of the Parole Board's handling of the Bakewell case, and also I'm also calling for key parole reforms as well.
The other thing, Eileen, is this. My understanding is that the Parole Board has said that it's releasing him on medical grounds.
Yes.
Is he at death's door? What's the story with his health?
No, he's not at death's door. And let's not forget, they've been using this line for a number of years now about his medical grounds. And let's not forget, a few years ago, he was so incapacitated, and yet there he was lifting wooden pallets.
Yeah, he clearly still knows how to pack his bong as well, given how many times he's been done for smoking dope.
And I saw him. I came face to face with him 2 years ago in the Supreme Court when he was applying for a new non-parole period after his parole finally got cancelled after the Upteenth breach. Now, I saw that man, and I watched him very closely, and he was not incapacitated whatsoever. He still looked strong. He's of working age, David. He's 64. He's not 85. And he had the energy to pump his fists in the air when the judge agreed to grant him a new non-parole period. He was standing there pumping his fist in the air victoriously. I was watching him and I was just appalled. So the parole board have been crying wolf too many times in regard to his so-called medical incapacitation. Yes, he's had, the most recent is he's had a minor stroke, but it's only minor. He's not in hospital, he's not in a wheelchair, he's not in his deathbed. They're wanting to let him back out into the community, so come on.
Yeah. Well, Eileen, we thank you for joining us this morning for Breaking 8, and we're going to pursue this. We'll follow it up with the Premier's office and also with the AG and the Corrections Minister to see what their response is to your letter. Eileen Cullerton there for Breaking at 8. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
14 minutes after 8. Of course, we're giving away a wonderful Smeg appliance this morning as well with the...
this is a thing of beauty.
The rumours that are coming in. A few early ones as well, which is always excellent. This morning, people's... monikers, sports that involve lawn. Why, you ask? No idea.
Apropos of nothing.
Lawn bowls, good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
We're very well.
Lawn bowls.
Good. My rumour is that Coles has been put out of the shopping centre in Port Adelaide by Woolworths and Big W coming in. But I heard that Coles are now going to go over to where Smith Motors were in Port Adelaide.
Okay. Well, there you go.
All right.
That's a good one.
Good local rumour.
That's a fairly big centre.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So that's a pretty good rumour, I reckon.
I think it is too, lawn bowls.
So do we, lawn bowls.
If you don't say so yourself. That's all right. You can come on and tell us how...
Sometimes you got to blow your own trumpet because no one's going to blow it for you.
Exactly right. We don't mind that. Thank you, lawn bowls. Croquet, good morning.
Good morning.
Your voice sounds a bit croquet.
Yeah, getting over a chest infection. What I'm ringing for is the Liberal Party have pre-selected Scott Morrison's old seat and they're recycling. The rumour is Tony Abbott will be the next person to stand for that seat.
Seriously?
Wow, that is
a cool rumour.
That's a great
Well, if
rumour.
it's good enough for one of Tony Abbott's good factional friends, Nicole Flint, to make a comeback in Boothby, maybe Tony Abbott can have a crack at Cook.
Wow, that'd be a huge story.
Other side of Sydney for him, Northern Shore boy, former member for Warringah, was it?
Yeah, I think he was.
Manly based, that's where he's in the SLSC. But
thank you, Croquet.
He could head down the Shire.
Couple quality rumours to get us started this hour. Keep them coming in, 8223 can stay totally anonymous. They don't have to be of federal political import either. They could be just good local stories. We appreciate all your rumours for the excellent Smeg appliance this morning. If you're building or renovating, your first choice should be visiting the Smeg showroom at Debney Distributors. Taste the difference with Smeg. Rob from Unling's also called into the program. Morning to you, Rob.
Good morning, boys. How are you?
Good morning.
Now,
thanks, Rob.
I have a little story I need to share because we don't always get positive stories come out. We actually live on the York Peninsula at Pine Point now.
Oh, lucky you.
And we had some elderly friends stayed with us on Monday night. And through the late hours of the night leading to midnight, Liz fell critically ill. So we had to call the ambulance. The ambulance arrived in 15 minutes from Ardross, I would suggest, not much longer. The senior officer, Des, was unbelievable. And then they did everything they could, and they took her to the Maitland Hospital. The Maitland Hospital was absolutely 10 out of 10. They could not have done any more for Liz. I mean, she's been flown back to Adelaide today in a helicopter, so she's still not well. But you hear too many negative stories about the ambulance and hospitals. Well, on the peninsula on Monday night, the ambulance service and the hospital, Maitland Hospital, were unbelievable.
That's an excellent call,
Great.
right?
Great to hear that. We love hearing those kind of stories.
Yeah, and it gels with what, for most people, is their experience of the health system. The problem we've got in this state is when things go bad, they can go really bad.
Well, the problem,
the inability to get in. You know, so you get the care once you're in.
The complaint about healthcare,
getting in bit's the tricky bit at the moment.
It's never about health workers.
No,
that we get.
No,
and we don't vet calls or texts, but the calls are about access to healthcare, not the healthcare that is actually provided. That's a great call. We appreciate it. Thank you. 8223 0000. 18 minutes after 8, we're going to check traffic, and when we return, Josh Rachele is going to join us live in the 5AA Breakfast Studio. When the UV's 3 and above, cover up, use sun protection, stay sun smart. Download the SunSmart app.
Thanks, Will. Dry Creek, nasty crash on the Salisbury Highway near the Wingfield interchange, causing big delays inbound. Salisbury South, a smash on Main North Road near Frost Road, and a burst water main at Richmond today, South Road near James Cogden Drive. Getting busy Main North Road at Enfield with cameras at Military Road, West Lake Shore, and Press Road at Brooklyn Park. Win over $1.6 billion in today's USA Mega Lotto. Get more zeros in your life with Australia's own lotteryoffice.com.au. Hurry, draw closes in just a few hours. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Stephen Rowe and Tim Jennifer.
Jason Horne-Francis, slight hamstring.
Wrap him up.
I think Port, to be at their best, have to have Horne-Francis in their side and Sam Powell-Pepper in their side. They both have got that raw power, that fierce desire to win the footy. I think their best lineup is those two in the team.
The 5AA Sports Show.
We wish him all the best for his recovery and hopefully not too far away. Maybe gather round.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
CMAX Clinical Research are calling all generally healthy adults aged 18 to 65 to take part in important medical research. An exciting opportunity to trial a potential medication that could decrease the risk of a coronary artery disease for people who have predisposed risk factors. Stay at CMAX for 2 consecutive nights and days and attend up to 12 visits to help pave the future of modern medicine. All eligible participants are paid for their time. Interested? Apply for C08123 at cmax.com.au.
Get great value hands down this Easter at Coles. Like Coles Australian lamb boneless leg roast, down to just $15 a kilo. That's great value hands down this Easter at Coles.
Now, the Fish Factory wants to wish you all a safe and happy Easter. If fresh seafood is always a feature of your Easter feasts, make sure you check out the Fish Factory.
The Fish Factory process their fish direct from the fishing boat, so you can't get fresher fish unless you actually eat it on the boat.
And it is crayfish season. Buy it live or get it freshly cooked in the shop. There's SA West Coast oysters freshly opened on the premises and SA King prawns cooked or green.
For the barbecue, there's whole fish like barramundi, kingfish, Atlantic salmon and more. If you're short on time, just choose freshly filleted fish and frozen products.
You'll find it all at the Fish Factory, fully South Australian owned and family run for over 40 years. Visit the Fish Factory on Grand Junction Road, Athol Park. Open all week, including Easter Friday and Easter Saturday. It's only closed on Easter Sunday and Monday.
Hey, you in the car. If your next service is due, just remember that Mawson Lakes Mazda has your back. We'll take care of you with next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash, and your breakfast or lunch is on us. Your car gets the love too, with our state-of-the-art service centre brimming with top-trained mechanics. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, we'll look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base, search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
Absolutely superb!
He's class personified.
Rachele! Out comes the boxing gloves!
22 minutes after 8, if you're watching along on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, you'll note Crow star Josh Rachele in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Josh, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dad and Will.
Great to have you here, Josh. Now, look, on behalf of the sort of long-suffering and obsessive fans, how do you guys stop yourself from doing what supporters do, where we get the Footy Live app out and we start going, oh no, Freya's going to be hard, but then there's Melbourne and then there's Carlton, like, you know, none from 5 and suddenly it's doomsday scenarios. How do you guys maintain calm despite the start that you've had?
Yeah, I know it's obviously pretty disappointing to a lot of our fans and ourselves too, but we kind of look at it as we played one quarter footy in the first game and we lost by a goal, and on the weekend we just were in patches and we still only lost by 3 goals. So we know that our best footy can quickly turn it around, but we also kind of focus on the process driven. We've got a goal at the moment, we call it the first climb, just trying to get that first win on the board, and we know that you've got to get that 12 to 13 wins to play a final, so we're kind of breaking it down week by week instead of thinking about the overarching goal of trying to play finals.
What's changed with regard to the way that the ball's being moved this season? Because last year, high-scoring team in the comp, and you had won plenty of the footy on Friday night, more of it than Geelong, had nearly 60 inside 50s? Just over
65, I think.
65 inside 50. So that's not the issue. Is it a deliberate decision to try and play down the line more so you're not as exposed when it turns over, or is it confidence? What are you diagnosing it as?
Yeah, we kind of put it down to the connection between all three lines. We know that our mids, they're actually doing really, really, really well. I know there's a bit of in the media at the moment saying we're quoted too vanilla in the midfield and things like that, but our mids are getting the ball heaps. It's just about the connection between the lines. We know that Riley Philthorpe was probably a big loss in the preseason, not having him down the line with our big contested marks, which helps at times. And we know Tex and these guys are getting older as well. So it's just being able to, I think, lower our eyes a bit more going inside 50 because we know we're getting the chances.
David King was the one who made the comments that said the midfield's a bit vanilla, and he mentioned you and Isaac Rankin as guys he'd like to see go through the midfield a bit more. Do you have a preference about where you play at the moment, whether you could play forward or on ball?
Yeah, not necessarily. I know that I can bring both things in the midfield and the forward line. I know that my craft is forward of centre, but I know my opportunities will come sometime this year, but that's a few more centre bounces or playing a full game in the mid. That happened at times last year, so I'm just waiting to see what Nixie has. But at the moment, as I said, our mids are doing well. It's probably just having myself, Isaac, and even Luke Pedlar in a few more centre bounces, and I think as well Jake Saligo's been really good going through the midfield too, which adds a different dimension.
There's a lot of old school fans and a lot of old school football personalities, Josh, who sort of look back at, Barassi and Parko, David Parker, when he was coaching Carlton, smashing telephones and all of that. Does Nixie ever drift into that personality type, or in these sort of more millennial era, is it more of a Craig McRae nurturing sort of philosophy?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's very different to Craig McRae, but he does go with that more calming approach. But yeah, don't get me wrong, when he needs to fire us up, he can get under our skin too. But
so you never had any doubt as to what's on his mind when he needs to make a point.
Yeah, we definitely know. We know, and we've got big guys in our team like Tex. He tells me straight when I'm doing something wrong, so I just go back and listen to him. So
is he the loudest voice out there when it comes to telling you off, for want of a better turn of phrase?
Yeah, and especially for me, like he's been one of my most important mentors at the Adelaide Crows, and he's been hard on me since day one. I still remember the first training session I was there. He gave me one of the biggest sprays for not defending, and coming as an under 18 player, you didn't know what defending was. I was just trying to kick goals back then, so he set me straight from day one, and we've got such a good relationship, and he's so good for the boys.
How do you respond to that the first time? You just come to the club and you've got this guy who's going to go down as a legend of the club screaming at you. Did you respond to it well, or have you grown up a bit in that over the course of the last 2 years?
Yeah, it's changed. Like my first time when he yelled at me, I shit myself. I was pretty scared. I was like, this is our big former captain yelling at me. And then you could see in other years, I think there was one the year before where I was giving it back to him, and it's changed. But now I've went through a whole different approach now.
Hey, were you close to that pitch invader when he was out there?
I was close, yeah. I was just like forward of centre a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really strange. At the start, I could kind of see this guy in a black, different uniform, what was going on, and then I kind of clicked. So it's a guy wearing TNs and being a pitch invader.
Do you reckon the SMA, Stadium Management Authority, should they get some of the security guards to maybe join you guys out at training?
I was saying they should all wear footy boots because that deck is so slippery, and you can see when pitch invaders go on, they can't change direction because it's so slippery. So it should be mandatory for them to wear footy boots, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Is Casey talked up his tackle? Is he proud of that one? He's been on Media Street with it this week.
He loves getting on the media for these things. Last year with the Mason Cox ripping the goggles off.
That's right.
He loves a few of them, but I think the fans were very happy with what Casey done.
Yeah, I think you already got a good cheer. What do you think about the prospect of adding games to the AFL season? I don't know if you've seen this week, it's been something that's been mooted. It's not a genuine plan yet, but the idea being maybe you have 24 games. Do you like playing more at this point of your career?
My personal opinion is if we reduce the time in game by a little bit, I think it would give us time to recover better and play an extra, say, 3 to 5 games a year, because we still know how full on our pre-seasons are, and we have the ability, I think, to play a few extra games. And you could tell in the COVID season when they reduced that, it is possible. And it is exciting how similar like the NBA is. They're getting up and ready for a next game within 3 to 4 days. So I think it's doable.
Big trip to WA. So when do you leave?
We'll leave tomorrow morning. Yep, we'll fly
You're going to miss the start of the SANFL.
Is that tomorrow?
David's obsessed.
Is he? Yeah.
I
think
absolutely
we're playing
obsessed.
Friday, the Crows, down at South Adelaide, so
That's right.
it'll be good to go watch them.
It's like playing at Antarctica, that ground.
Yeah.
Have you ever played at Hickenbotham, or whatever it's called now? Flinders University Stadium, I think?
Yeah, no, never played.
It was die of hypothermia.
Really?
But
Yeah,
being a
it's really
Victorian, it'd probably make you feel like home.
Yeah, it does.
Make you feel like you're back in shit.
Especially down in bloody Benalla and those type of country towns.
Yeah,
where it's
that's
freezing.
right.
Yeah.
Or Mars
Mansfield.
Stadium with the people frozen solid in the outer.
I've played a lot of games down there. It's bloody that windy and cold. It's not good.
Well, I'm not sure what the weather's going to be like in Perth, but I imagine it'll be pretty reasonable for a big Friday night clash again. So all the best, Josh.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
We'll catch you next week.
We'll do.
It's 29 after 8. 5AA News is coming up. Back shortly.
It's no surprise that Alfred James Funeral Homes is there for families in their time of need. They've been doing so for over 100 years. What may be surprising is the lengths they'll go to help you pay tribute to the life journey of your loved one. A song choice that's unconventional. A eulogy that's both heartwarming and hilarious. Oh, and launching their ashes into orbit on a SpaceX rocket. Pre-plan yours with us now. Alfred James Funeral Homes. Honouring lives in extraordinary ways.
Introducing the all-electric 7-seat Kia EV9. Silence never felt so loud. Visit kia.com.au to find out more.
Kia, movement that inspires.
This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Mostly sunny and 25 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
From chips to replacements, make Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. CompleteWindscreens.com.au.
A body's been recovered after a cargo ship collided with a bridge in the US city of Baltimore, causing it to collapse. US correspondent Jonathan Kersley is there.
Local councilwoman Felicia Porter told CNN a body had been recovered in the grim search for 6 people missing after the Key Bridge in Baltimore collapsed about 1:30 local time this morning. A senior executive at the company that employed the construction workers who were still on the bridge when it fell has said that they are presumed dead given the depth of the water and the number of hours they have been missing. Still, authorities insist this is a search and rescue operation that will last hours and a recovery that will go well beyond that. The port remains closed and US President Joe Biden has said he expects the US government to pay to rebuild the bridge.
Police are investigating a drive-by shooting at Northfield last night. Several shots were fired into a home in Leeds Avenue just after 10:30. CCTV footage shows a vehicle driving away and police are working to identify the suspects. Home Affairs Minister Claire O'Neill has refused to take questions on Labor's enhanced migration policy. Asylum seekers deemed not to be genuine refugees could face up to 5 years jail if they refuse to be deported. Countries like Iran and Iraq could be slapped with travel bans to Australia if they won't take their citizens back. Ms O'Neill has been peppered with questions about the proposed legislation, but wouldn't answer any of them.
Do you expect legal challenges to come out of this legislation if it's passed? I'm so sorry, I've got to go to a meeting. This is major legislation. This is major legislation and you're not taking questions on it.
What's your response? What confidence do you have or what advice do you have that these laws won't get thrown out by the High Court?
The AFL is being accused of orchestrating off-the-book illicit drug tests so players wouldn't get caught by the World Doping Authority. Independent MP Andrew Wilkie dropped the bombshell in federal parliament, claiming he has a signed statement from former Melbourne Football Club doctor, Dr. Zishan Arain. Medical expert Dr. Nick Coatsworth telling Today it raises questions about ethics of the entire competition.
You've got a duty of care to the people that you're looking after, and of course that doesn't extend into covering up their illicit drug use, because I mean this is a risky sort of thing.
Festival season may have just wrapped up, but there's another one just around the corner. Cabaret Festival kicks off in June with tickets going on sale today. Artistic director Virginia Gay says the lineup includes both local and international stars like Patti LuPone.
I've been all over the world to find the very best cabaret, to bring it back to Adelaide. And I think the most exciting thing for me has been that often I would be on the other side of the world and I would say, I'd love you to join us at the Adelaide Cat. And somebody would stop me, an international star would stop me and say, we've heard about the Adelaide Cabaret Festival. Yes, I'd love to come.
And now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Let's go further deeper into that story on the drug situation for the AFL. And Port Chairman David Koch is calling on a thorough independent investigation to exonerate clubs who are doing the right thing. It comes after startling allegations made by a former Melbourne club doctor that the league helped cover up players who were taking illicit substances. Koch telling David and Will it's not something he can fathom.
The investigation needs to be independent because I feel every club could be tarnished by it if it isn't investigated properly. And I would hate for lots of clubs to be brought into disrepute if it's wrong.
Let's stick with footy, and Crows forward Josh Rachele is confident the side can turn things around despite the side's sloppy start to the season. The connection between midfielders and forwards has been criticised, but Rachele has told David and Will they can fix it.
It's just being able to, I think, lower our eyes a bit more going inside 50 because we know we're getting the chances.
Meantime, Brisbane defender Tom Doedee is set to miss the rest of the season with a knee injury after tearing his ACL at training. Let's go to soccer. Craig Goodwin was the star for the Socceroos in a 5-0 win over Lebanon in Canberra last night, securing their place in the next phase of World Cup qualifying. He scored 2 goals, and Goodwin says he was also delighted to play a part in a moment Cassini Yengi will remember forever.
Yeah, look, it's brilliant. You'll never be able to really recreate that moment, scoring your first goal for your nation. You know, for me, it was against Vietnam in Melbourne, and I had the same thing, the same emotions that come over you, because it's everything you dream of as a kid.
And that is the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
When you cover things, they last longer. Same goes for you. Save your skin. Download the SunSmart app.
Morning there at Dry Creek. A crash on the Salisbury Highway near the Wingfield interchange causing big delays inbound. Salisbury South, a smash there too. Main North Road near Frost Road. And got a breakdown slowing things up at Jeps Cross today. Grand Junction Road near Main North Road. Busy Brighton Road at Glenelg South with the camera East Terrace Henley Beach and Phillip Highway at Elizabeth South. Experience the entire Mini range at Glenelg Mini Garage, Adelaide's independent family-owned Mini dealership. Experience the fun that follows a Mini at Glenelg Mini Garage. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast, and warming up through to the weekend. Mostly sunny 25 today. Tomorrow sunny 26, Friday sunny 29, and Saturday mostly sunny 31. Right now it's 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Package deal bathrooms can make your dream bathroom reality. Our base packages meet every need, including mobility and accessibility. If you need a bathroom renovated to accommodate disability, we have the perfect renovation package for you. Features like grab rails, handheld shower heads, slipping safeguards and mobility showers ensure your bathroom will be as easy to use as it is easy on the eyes. Book a one-on-one house visit today at packagedealbathrooms.com.au.
If you're struggling with your CPAP therapy, you'll be glad to hear that Respirico Healthcare have a solution for you.
Respirico now offer the world's first auto-fitting mask, and Will and I know, because we actually saw them ourselves yesterday, tried them on, extremely comfortable. They're from Fisher & Paykel Healthcare.
If you picture what a CPAP machine is, you need to update your thinking when you see one of these things. They're tiny, they don't make any noise. No. It's not like you've got to walk around like Bane.
Yeah.
You've got a tiny little mask that fits on your nose. It is unbelievable.
Soft felt on it.
The Fisher & Paykel Solo mask fits automatically to your face with a simple touch. It's incredibly easy. And when it comes to CPAP therapy, fit is everything.
So listen to this. For a limited time, Respirico Healthcare is offering the Fisher & Paykel Sleep-style CPAP device for 30% off, along with a free solo mask valued at $310.
To experience this groundbreaking technology, visit one of 6 Respirico clinics and mention you heard about them on 5AA to redeem this incredible offer.
Respirico Healthcare, proudly serving South Australia for 20 years, and when considering whether CPAP is right for you, speak to your doctor and always follow the directions for use.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base. Search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 to 9. If you had some elective surgeries scheduled for the next 2 days and it got suddenly cancelled last night because the South Australian health system cannot deal with elective surgery at the moment, given its needs elsewhere. Give us a call, 8223 0000. It was a surprise, came out of the blue this. We're going to be chatting with Dr. Robin Lawrence, the CEO of SA Health, just before 9 o'clock to try to get to the bottom of why and when this decision was taken.
Well, our listeners were overwhelmingly shocked and appalled yesterday with our revelations in Breaking at 8 about the treatment of the Grigg family. This is Kirsty Grigg, who works in aged care at the excellent Southern Cross Care Service, and her husband Nick, who's an Australian citizen. Due to this bizarre bureaucratic stuff-up, which resulted in her visa rejection being sent to her spam folder, the family has now been told that they are going to be split up by April the 9th. Kirsty, the clock is ticking. She is under orders from the Immigration Department to leave Australia, and she allegedly has no other choice than to reapply for a visa once she's out of the country. Well, at a time when we're screaming out for quality people like Kirsty in the vital aged care space, her employer, Southern Cross Care, is among those who are just scratching their heads at the whole thing. David Moran is the CEO, and he very kindly joins us now. David, Kirsty is exactly the kind of person we need in South Australia, isn't she?
Yeah, no, we absolutely. And good morning, David and Will, and to all your listeners. Absolutely, and I think Australia is lucky to have her. Adelaide's lucky to have her, and Southern Cross Care is absolutely blessed to have her with the work that she's doing, and just even in the time she's been with us, she was nominated 5 times as a finalist in our Rising Star category for our Southern Star Awards. That's how the impact she's already had with her fellow staff, colleagues, and the organisation.
Because, Kirsty, they made the decision to migrate to Australia back in 2021. That was after her parents had passed away, and they wanted to come here to look after Nick's ageing parents. And clearly, in a very short space of time, only 3 years, she's made a huge impact working at Southern Cross Care.
Yeah, she has, and kind of has a team of about 20 around her, and that team is responsible for looking after over 1,000 people within their own homes and coordinating that. And we actually found it really hard recruiting for that role, and she was a standout, and we're just lucky she had come to Australia. And just her whole qualities of her work ethic and her team approach is just been absolutely amazing for us. So clearly, it was the staff that came to us. That's how we found out about it, and we're trying to help once we found out.
The backdrop to all this, as David said right at the start, is labour force issues and staffing problems. Can you quantify for our listeners how difficult it is to find good people to work in the sector at the moment?
Yeah, very difficult, particularly ones that you need for the right skill set. So clearly, nursing's really hard, and certainly the experience in this sort of care administration role, it is very hard to find the right skill set, and certain locations are harder than others as well. But this role was quite difficult because of it was the complexity around the admin and the finance and the coordination of scheduling and all of that makes this quite an unusual role. And Kirsty's just very good at it. But really, guys, beyond that, this is really about us being able to show compassion, and this is about her family and her and the knock-on effects, which are quite incredible when you think she's got kids and. Yeah. What if she was supported and what that impact would have on her daughter for her psyche is just, I can't imagine. And then the elderly parents of Nick, they've moved back to support them, to take them to appointments, and they live in kind of a regional town in the mid-north, and what happens if they have to pull up stumps and all leave? Well, that has an impact on the whole health system, not just,
Completely.
And then there's obviously our own staff and what that would do for their own morale, given they're quite a close-knit team. And then there's all these knock-on impacts that this sort of decision could have.
Yeah, no, and you documented all of it so well, David. And I know too that Southern Cross Care, probably fruitlessly, in the same way as our stories about this so far seem to have been fruitless, but you guys have at least been trying behind the scenes to speak up on behalf of Kirsty. So hopefully there's public pressure. And on behalf of such a great family, with such logical arguments as to her retention here in Australia, hopefully sanity can can prevail.
Yeah. Look, certainly, I just think of you guys. When I first heard about this, I think every week you say something, surely common sense must prevail. It's either you or Will that says it every week, and this is just a classic one of those, where's the common sense and all of this? And then, beyond that, where's the compassion and the humanity around this decision?
Correct.
So, yeah, but we're still hopeful. I think there's been a lot of work behind the scenes, and from my understanding, there's a ministerial intervention has been lodged, and she's been told not to make travel arrangements. So
yeah, well, I heard. Did you hear that?
Green shoots.
Did you hear that late yesterday, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah, so did I. Because I was about to unload again in the paper, and I sort of decided not to because I think we made our point yesterday. But if sounds like something is bubbling along, and it's because of people like you speaking out, and because the Griggs came and shared their story with us yesterday on the show, that it's now in the public domain. So fingers crossed, eh?
Yeah, I think so. And look, we've kind of engaged with Catholic Health Australia. They've worked behind the scenes. The Migration Solutions, their company, have gone back in, and David, you as well. I can't end the things when you got involved. Then things have started to happen. So Southern Cross Care certainly thanks you.
No, not at all.
Any impact that you've actually had in this and the role you've played, because it didn't seem to be getting anywhere.
No, it was what we do. No dramas at all, Dave.
And it pains me to say that to a Sturt McCrow supporter, but there it is.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it's the great level of football. Hey, David, great chatting to you, mate. David Moran, the CEO of Southern Cross Care. You know the actual reason that the visa was unsuccessful? So they rejected the visa application on two grounds. Firstly, that Kirsty and Nick didn't share a joint bank account, and also they didn't have both of their names on their rental lease.
You're kidding.
And then they sent the email to the spam folder.
Unbelievable.
I don't know, I just feel is that same level of rigour being applied on the Gaza Strip?
No. No is the answer. 15 to 9. We're going to check traffic and come back with the CEO of SA Health in just a moment to talk about the cancellation of elective surgeries for the next 48 hours. When the UV's 3 and above, cover up, use sun protection, stay sun smart and download the Sun Smart app.
Thanks, Will. A dry Karika crash on the Salisbury Highway near the Wingfield interchange causing big delays inbound. Salisbury South, a smash on Main North Road near Frost Road, and got a breakdown at Jeps Cross, which is a bit sluggish at the moment. Green Junction Road near Main North Road. Getting quite busy at the moment. Regency Road at Regency Park with a camera. Kester's Road at Para Hills West. Amart's Easter sale is on now with absolutely everything on sale. Save big with a minimum 10 to 60% off all furniture store-wide. Hurry and soon at Amart. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Are painful muscle cramps ruining your workout or waking you up at night? If you're low on magnesium, you can get painful muscle cramps or mild muscle spasms. Caruso's Vitamin K2 plus D3 plus magnesium contains 6 types of magnesium in a time-release formula to reduce and relieve muscle cramps when your dietary intake is inadequate. It also supports bone strength, muscle function and heart health. Caruso's Vitamin K2 plus D3 plus magnesium is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Jayco's Mega Easter stock sale is now on. Hop on down for exciting deals on all MY23 Jayco dealer stock. Save across the range. There's never been a better time to jump in a Jayco. Visit Jayco Adelaide today. End soon.
Now, Live Golf Adelaide is back. How good is this? For its second year, and the excitement is in full swing. It's golf but louder. Don't miss this global golfing spectacle as it tees off right in our own backyard.
Come out to see the world's best golfers in action up close, like John Ram, Brooks Koepka, Cam Smith, Phil Mickelson and Dustin Johnson. Live represents the Roman numeral for 54. You might recall we spoke about a bit that last year. And that is how many holes of top-shelf golfing action you can expect to see.
And get your bottles ready, because it's an action-packed weekend. Even if you're not a golf fan, enjoy shotgun starts and fan village fun, plus amazing live performances from headline music acts.
Live Golf Adelaide runs from April 26 to 28. Kids under 12 get in free. Tickets at livegolf.com.
Hey lads, a guy in the community reckons we take the overs.
Do we trust him?
Well, his username is Big Stats Guy.
Say no more.
Connect with a community of like-minded punters, only in Ladbrokes communities. T's and C's apply and available on website. You win some, you lose more.
Ray White Business Sales. Business people selling businesses. Go on, touch base. Search RWC Business Sales.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
12 minutes to 9, the state government took the decision yesterday to announce that elective surgery in Adelaide's public hospitals was cancelled for a period of 48 hours in the lead up to Easter to allow the health system to better deal with very high demand. The CEO of SANFL, Dr. Robin Lawrence, joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Dr. Lawrence, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So, Dr. Lawrence, I don't want to sound cynical, but I am. How long had this decision been in the pipeline for? And is it a bit cute that it wasn't announced until after the Dunstan by-election?
This decision was made yesterday, and I want to make it clear to everybody that when I'm making decisions, I make those based on the needs of our health system and providing care to our patients, not election dates.
Yeah, but you've sort of got to keep an eye on those who employ you. I mean, it would have been really embarrassing if it happened last week, I guess. A lot of people, I'm airing that because it's what a lot of our listeners are saying.
Look, I understand the concerns of your listeners, but at the end of the day, every decision I take in the health system has to be made based on the evidence in front of me, how I think we can deal with the needs of our patients. And that decision was taken yesterday, and I discussed it with my CEOs as soon as I had drawn to the conclusion that I thought this was a requirement, and we had a meeting to discuss it in the afternoon. And at that time, we let both the individual patients know, but also the community know that we were taking this step.
Yep, no, fair enough.
So what changed yesterday?
Look, we were reviewing the situation as we go into Easter, and we've been busy for quite some time now, and I guess we were optimistic that maybe that rate of demand and attendances and patients requiring admission to hospital, most importantly, would attenuate as we moved closer to Easter and away from a range of other factors we've been considering. But we weren't seeing that, and I was concerned that over the Easter break, it's much more difficult for us to use some of our usual discharge pathways, particularly into residential aged care and home care providers who can't take on those additional cases over the Easter break. Therefore, we wouldn't get our usual discharges. So to create that capacity, this was the step we thought was appropriate.
So what made you optimistic that you might have fewer people in the system in the lead up to Easter?
I think we've seen growing demand over the last couple of months, and there's been a range of issues that we thought may be causing that demand at different points in time, whether it be the COVID wave, heat wave. Obviously, Fringe was on over that time, and that sometimes drives a bit of demand. So with those things coming to an end, we had hoped that that demand would start to attenuate. As an example, the rate of growth of our ambulances is higher than what we would normally expect year on year. So you always think, well, there must be something driving that, and that they will return to a more balanced growth position. But we haven't seen that, so we've had to take this step to ensure that over the Easter break, all of our patients who require hospital care can access it safely.
So I think the media release went out, what, about 5 o'clock yesterday, something like that? There was no way to give people more notice than that their surgery today and tomorrow would be called off?
Look, we had a meeting yesterday afternoon with our CEOs and some other partners at around 1:30. That finished at 2:30, and we took those steps only after that final discussion, and we provided that information as quickly as we could.
But how did it get to the point that the decision was so urgent that it needed to be made to take place tomorrow?
We don't take these decisions lightly, and it's important that we weigh up the risks and benefits in taking these steps. So it was important that it was considered, and whilst it seems a rapid decision because of the way we let people know as soon as we had made the decision, we also wouldn't want to make decisions preemptively if they weren't required because of the impact on those elective patients.
What does it mean if you're an elective patient who is going to have a procedure done today? How do you go about, or when can you expect to have it rescheduled? Because we've had people on the phone to us today, Dr. Lawrence, saying they've been waiting for like several years in some cases to get a hip replacement and so on. When can you expect to do it? Because you could sort of fall back into the queue, couldn't you?
Look, firstly, I would like to apologise to those people who were postponed at short notice and reassure them we will be working to reschedule them as quickly as possible. They don't fall back into the queue, they maintain their place in the queue, and we'll get them back into a scheduled surgery slot as quickly as we can.
Do you think in future there's an opportunity to try and give people a bit more notice than the day before?
We would always prefer to give people notice well in advance, and in fact we'd prefer not to be booking patients if we know we've got constraints, and we try to do that in our usual business. But at times we have to make these decisions, and I do apologise to the patients who were impacted by this yesterday, but we will continue to make those decisions as we are required to ensure the safety of all of our patients.
Dr. Robin Lawrence, the Chief Executive Officer of SANFL, thank you for joining us this morning.
No problem. Thank you very much.
A lot of annoyed people in pain on the Dutton's text line talking about this. A couple of people telling us to pull our head in. Graham from Prospect says, silly line of questioning. These sorts of decisions are made at the minute depending on other demands on the system. There is no way it could be delayed because of something like an election. These are difficult decisions. Thank you for that. One here from Lisa saying it's a bit cute saying, it's a bit cute, they're playing semantics saying elective surgeries are only cancelled until 11:59 tomorrow night. How many are scheduled over Easter?
It's a fair question from Lisa.
Yeah. The question was fair about Dunstan. And this is hugely political. You know, as you said before, vote like your life depended on it. The public of South Australia were told more than anything else. And I know that we had Cressida O'Hanlon hanging on by fingernails in Dunstan. We'll check in on the count again later today. She was sitting right next to us last week saying, there were more than 400 promises made by Labor ahead of the last election. Okay, of those 400, what was the one that was on all the Stobie polls? There was only one, and it was about this. It was the charge in on my white steed and I'll fix the hospital system in record time. And now it's, well, we didn't really say record time, we said eventually. Said at some point.
Well, we're closer to the next election than we are the previous one now.
Yeah, it's the biggest. I would say it's actually the only genuine political weakness this government has.
I just feel for those people that have been waiting forever to get surgery done because they're in pain. Like no one has. We're not talking about no one's getting their lips done. Like, no one's getting a Botox injection. These are people that are in pain.
I wonder how many of them voted like their life depended on it.
How much would have you been looking forward to today if you had a knee you haven't been able to walk or your back stuffed? You've been looking forward to it, and then last night you find out?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, we're a bit busy.
Yep. It was devastating.
All right, let's head out on the road. Jade Robran is following all the big local stories for us, and is it down at Grange for what is a really terrific initiative down there, Jade, on Good Friday?
Most certainly. Good morning, everybody. I get sent to some of the most beautiful places in our great state, but this one is right up there. I am at the Grange Jetty Cafe because on Friday they are hosting a Good Friday Easter appeal. It is an absolutely brilliant idea. It's supporting childhood cancer. They're going to have live music. DJ Tommy Tequila will be down here. Hip hop, jazz dancers. Easter Bunny is making an appearance, an early appearance. We'll have face painters and raffles. Already they have raised $9,000. So they've opened up a GoFundMe page, and all the kind folk that, you know, frequent this cafe regularly have dug deep for such a fantastic cause. Around 400 people have already booked in to come down here on Good Friday. So, Will, I hope one of them is you and your family, because it is going to be such a fun day. It's opening at the crack of dawn in the morning, all throughout the day. So if you don't have anything to do, the weather is looking mighty fine. Come on down. I had a quick chat to Georgie, one of the staff members here. They're busily baking and getting all the yummy hot chocolates all ready and wrapping all the eggs for what's going to be a sensational Good Friday.
Because the locals around here are so wonderful, aren't they? They really do get around, and I mean, you've got an incredible, you know, supporter base here. How many people are you sort of expecting?
Well, I do know for a fact that so far we do have over 400 people booked in, so it'll be a very busy, exciting day, and anyone's welcome. You don't need to have a reservation. Any locals can come down and support, get takeaway, and yeah, be a part of it.
So every single dollar that is spent goes to the Childhood Cancer Foundation?
Yeah, that's right. So we've got a GoFundMe page. We've also got the raffle, as I said, and all the money that is turned over will go to the association. And so far we have, just from the GoFundMe, raised over $9,500, which is great.
That is sensational, guys. And why the Childhood Cancer Foundation?
Okay. Just because of my boss, he has lost his father, I think about over 10 years ago to cancer, and a few of our staff, you know, have some relatives, and it's just a really good organisation that hits close to home, and there are lots of children and families affected by it. So all the money raised will help these families and support them what they're going through with the disease.
Great cause, great place. Get in on Friday and support the excellent Childhood Cancer Association Easter Appeal. Everything they make on that day goes towards the appeal. That's the Grange Jetty Cafe. Hey, the Smeg mixer we've got to give away this morning.
We are going to give it to Lawn Bowls with
Lawn
the
Bowls?
Port Adelaide related retail tip. We
Great
like
one.
that one.
Great
we like
rumour.
a good little local one.
Yeah.
And we also love going to the Central Market, and we're going to do that tomorrow, so we'll see you there.
Looking forward to it. Tomorrow morning from 6 o'clock. Matt Pantelis is next.
Nothing beats driving away in your brand new Mitsubishi, but choosing your